Hello.
Go suck a lemon.
Furry Cures 1221 thinks you should do 20 squats.
Why you gotta hit me with the squat so soon? Nito finished his stream just now, but they're still streaming on my side. Like, it says that they're on a short break or something. It's still going. Unless they're just, you know, putting it... They just leave it running for, like, long-ass time before they go to the next thing. They rated diffuse. Ah. Okay, weird. It says short break for me. Alright. Oh, now they've moved on. Okay. Ah, alrighty. Alright. I gotta do my squats really quickly, cause I never get a break from them. There we go. Also, I need to get my phone out of my pocket. Otherwise, I'm likely gonna get my pants weighed down by it. Here we go. They forgot to eat before drinking. Oh. Alright, here we go. Here we go. 1, 2, hi Desirous. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I gotta do my squats really quickly. 8, 9, And Strawberry Cat, 11. Thank you. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Thank you for the 20 squats. Hey, don't be stealing my shirt. Damn it, I'm out of breath. Strawberry Cat, thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow. I greatly appreciate it.
Stretching time sponsored by Strawberry Cat.
All the... Stretching.
Furry Cures demands you drink.
Why do all the redeems have to be hit off? And it's always... The squat one, I'm gonna be real, is always exhausting me. No, don't look at my pecs. Where's my other hand? There it is. Nope. Because then when you do the Himbo check, it always goes into, like, game camera next. I don't yet have a way of it figuring out what the previous camera was before it does the switch.
Oh, this is beautiful. Did you see it?
Thank you for being my biggest fan, Hendrix. Oh my gosh. I can barely hear anything. Why is everything so loud? There we go. Oh my gosh. It's not even like 10 minutes into the stream and already I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel so tired. I don't want to do this. All right. Hi. Hello, everyone. Furry Cures, Hendrix, Benru. Who else do we got? Scrolling down. Dazarus, hi. And Strawberry Cat, meow meow. Woke up from Nat from Furality. Hi. Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing okay. I've been keeping up with, like, you know, cold/flu medication. Hey there, Trumpet. Welcome to the stream. Third day of June. I saw that message, Hendrix. You don't need to mention it again. Making homemade burgers for dinner. Oh, that's cool. I still have some special fried rice at the ready for my, like, breakfast, lunch, and dinner when they're ready. Although I might do breakfast with eggs tomorrow.
Benru22 paid me to say Grant got the daddy dilkers.
It's not my fault. It's not my fault my chat is just so damn horny for me. It's not my fault I get, like, hyper himboed and my shirt taken so soon into the stream. How is Ferality? Ah, yes, so... I forgot Ferality was a thing until, like, I slept in today until 9. Got out of bed by 11. And, you know, I realized Ferality was a thing by the time the Twitch meetup started. Got myself a badge... And I hung out in there. I don't have too many friends in VR chat, especially the ones that I should have listed as a friend or something like that, just so then that way I can actually hang out and chat with them and what have you. So there was like a few zipples. Yes, Alaveras. My titties just had to be taken out of context. But yeah, I hung out in Ferality for a bit. This weekend was probably like not a great time to, like, join into a furry chat, because the thing of, like, deciding to try and do a stream every day I'm able to in June. Can't go to Ferality, which I'm sad about. Got offered a ticket, but gonna be busy all weekend. Yeah, this Saturday was probably my quietest of the weekend that would have allowed me to go to Ferality, and I was not awake for most of it. I didn't, like, properly, like, I always do this with, like, I did it with Furdu this year. I did it with Ferality, like, that went off in February, and I've done it Ferality again that went off this evening slash this weekend. Like, I did not do, like, any prior plan or tweet or any mention of it to try and make it possible for peeps to be like, oh, hey, you can You can find me on the VR chats or in the realm or what have you. I didn't do any of that, and I have to tackle wanting to socialize and shit with the other half of the fact where I was like, I kind of don't want to be here. I kind of want to just go back to sleep. One day I will figure out why I want to go to sleep so much. Hi, Jason. Welcome to the stream. Hopefully you're doing all right. I'll post pictures like after tonight's stream of like the 1 or 2 selfies I took while I was there just to see if it worked. I'm gonna be real with you, chat. I do not take that many pictures of myself. I am very much reliant on the fact that other people will take pictures or something crazy like that. But I don't interact that often either. So it's like, it's a catch-22 of like, people don't know to hang out with me because I don't hang out that often. And I don't hang out with that often because like, people aren't aware that I want to hang out. It's one of those fun, silly things. You saw Purikor, Carl, Kusaki, Miss Mixie, and others. I missed Carl. I missed Kusaki and Miss Mixie. I bumped into Prey Purge. I saw Radium. I didn't say anything to Nanuk. I think I'm saying their name correctly. And then, so there was like 1 or 2 people I bumped into that was like, oh, they were happy to see me and I had no clue who they were. And then there was all these people that I was like, oh, I didn't realize they were at Ferality either, but I don't have them as friends on the VR chat, so I wasn't able to join their instance or something. I think that's like my one like takeaway from Ferality is that it can have like a really big attendance, but because of the issue with VR chat not letting you being able to do like really big instances and trying to have it so that those instances are managed by like a more dedicated server rather than the reliance of like other people's internet connections and such, it doesn't make it easy to be able to be like go to an event and have like we like, hey, we're hanging out kind of thing. Because what I learned is like, there's like 150, 200 instances just for Ferality within a day or something that goes off. And I'm like, the attempt of you trying to find a friend across 200 instances, especially if you're not friends on VR chat, is probably a really low likelihood. So, but yeah, I don't have a good way of being able to be like, hey, I want to be friends with you without, physically bumping into them and such. And even then, I don't do it too well. So yeah, so there's that. Now, I have to get the rest of my stream at the ready because I actually had invited friends along to the game we're going to be playing. We're going to be playing a little bit of Fall Guys. Do I want to close or minimize this window? I think I'm going to close this window. And then I'm going to move this window over here, move this over there, hover over this, grab this, move this over here, slap you so you're on the left side like so, and then you go on the right side, so then that way I'm able to see. You ready? You just been sitting there? No, that's fine. I know, like, I personally like doing these whole, like, before the game starts, and I sometimes, do the streams early because of this, of sitting in this room, talking like sort of by myself and towards the viewers and what have you before I've even like started up the game and done all kinds of stuff. And I don't know, like I'm not really great at the communication thing. I probably said that already, and like being able to pull people in and be able to say hi and such go like that. Suck a lemon. You go suck a lemon. This is your first time? Awesome. Cool. All right. Need to get Fall Guys up and running. And then once it's running, then I'm able to like share it into the Discord. So then that way, those that I'm streaming with will be able to, see the actual session in case there's session codes, anything like that I need to share ahead of time. And then, okay, so we already have our first.
Fatboy_97 paid me to say hi, Grant.
Hi, that boy. Welcome to the stream. Alrighty, so I need to double check who did I invite and who said they were free. So, Dazarus? Did I invite Avalon? No, wait, I had... Hang on. Maybe... Just about to start. Who redeemed the squats? Oh, Furry Cures. They'll do that like very quickly. Alrighty, and then hit the start there. Move over into here. Ignore the fact that there was like a giant zebra there. Alright, can I do... Alright, I'm gonna have to Alt-Tab to do the Discord thing. Hit the pause here. I probably need to double check why it doesn't do the cool, like, overlay thing. Because it should do that. So, shift and thingamadoogie. Add it. Alright. Also, I need to close off the intro fighters. Congratulations, Trumpet Gaming! You're the last man standing. Alright, so close that. Music has stopped again because I don't... Some days I wonder whether I should go to a 2 PC setup. Alright, let me move Dazarus into the chat. Hello?
Oh, good evening.
Good evening. Alright, so I can turn this one on. There we go. So now, in the bottom corner, you will see... Hang on a sec, let me zoom in. Dazarus! Dazzy.
Good evening.
Hi.
How's it go, Grant?
It goes. Alright, now I'm also waiting on Trumpet Collins. Trumpet is a streamer as well. I bumped into them, actually, in the... Also, I need to actually add them in as a... streamer. I bumped into them at the furry convention Furry Down Under this year.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. Well, I was in the games room and what have you. Ooh, is the overlay working this time? Yes, it is. Awesome. All right, cool. So now I'm able to, like... It should... Actually, that should not be appearing when I... Is it because I have... Ooh, that's not good.
Are you doing window capture?
Hang on a sec. If I do, let me double check what it's doing. It should just be game capture, because game capture is the one that actually avoids overlays and such. Hang on a second. Game capture properties, capture the cursor, allow transparency. So yeah, it has this thing that says capture third party overlays, and I can like enable and disable that. Now. No, it still does it. It might be because of the fact that the overlay, I've like forced it on for this Fall Guys client thing, and I need to take it out because maybe it doesn't think Fall Guys is a overlay. Hang on. Friend is online, don't get the notification. Also, why am I not like running at... There we go. Windowed off, VSync on. Cross-platform. Yep, cross-platform is a thing. I can grab ledges automatically if I want. Save. Alright. Unless, did that thing not do a full screen? Nothing really changed. Alright. I should... Okay, cool. So it doesn't show the Epic Games overlay. Alright. You can see Trumpet Collins.
Also, how was Furdo?
It was good. Trumpet Collins can also enjoy it. Alright. If you enable voice chat, you'll be able to hear other players in your party and they will be able to hear you. No, I don't want to...
Discord anyway.
Yeah, I don't think it's... Where's my mouse? Somehow I've lost my mouse cursor. Okay, so tab. Alright, so hit the space. Did you send me a friend request? Yes, you did.
Me? Yes.
Yes, I was looking for the name Dazzy for some reason. Alrighty, and
For some reason,
then...
my push to talk hates me.
Ah, okay. I don't do push to talk.
I'm trying to press every button.
Ugh.
Like,
I know
I'm also
Steam.
streaming at the same time. I try and do like push talk so I don't like talk to my stream in your stream and stuff like that. That's my view in it. Yeah.
Ah, okay. So wait, you're streaming right now as well?
I'm streaming right now as well.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay, well...
I thought I might as well stream my first ever game of Fall Guys.
Alrighty
It's a pretty
then.
fun game.
Alrighty then. So
I have seen other people and people have invited me, but I've never really wanted to play with them because they've been sort of people I don't like to play with.
Look at these legends and their store-bought skins, and here I'm with my free-to-play.
hey, I did not pay for mine.
I have no idea.
This
My
screen.
skin's free. You can
Yeah, I
I
think-
think it comes off the store free.
I
Yeah.
have no idea.
Alrighty then. So, I want to let me. Oh my god. Why doesn't it want me? Why can't it just see my mouse?
Thank you, Ben.
Awesome. All right. So we'll do squads like by ourselves first, like while there's 3 of us. There's a 4th slot available, but depending on how many people are in the chat that are like, yes, we want to like, you know, join in and have the fun, then we can do what's called a private party or a private match, where basically there'll be like a share code or something, and then other people can join, so it's not going to be like filled with, you know, hundreds of people or something.
Yeah. I've got a friend of mine in chat. They've only played Fall Guys once and they won the first game, so they have a 100% win rate because they've never played it again.
Amazing. Oh,
They're
if
a
only-
legend.
Fall Guys player.
Yeah, the best Fall Guys player ever. Yeah.
All right, hang on. Is there a way from? Oh, I could.
Say
No.
good night, Henry. Take it easy, buddy.
Oh, Night Hendrix. All right, so
Night Hendrix. I'm just gonna say night when you guys say it.
not to worry, not to worry. Also,
not
I need
right
to.
now.
Yep, I need to do the share my screen for Fall Guys as well. Just not the entire screen, just the Fall Guys. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Fall Guys
The
underscore
entire
client.
screen.
Yeah, I don't need to do that. I just need to share the Fall Guys one. How to play.
How to play?
Shop.
W-
It's move and like E to interact. That's it.
All right. As well, so
I'm gonna
diving
check-
is
I'm gonna check my
control,
controls.
and grabbing looks to be the
Why is that
enter
enter?
key. I don't know.
Ooh. Change
See,
like E.
I use controller because it's better that way.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Put that on E. I would like that on E.
Hang on. Let me.
Wait, grab on mouse 1. No. That's selected.
Grabbing
already.
on mouse 1, I will accept. That's fair enough. But I will, however, just grab my Xbox controller, the like 20-year anniversary or whatever controller that they sold. That's like, oh, this just feels right. All right, so jumping A,
I
diving
can't
X,
find
grabbing is the
the-
right trigger, and then different directions for emotes. Okay, this is good. I can do this. All right.
For now, I'll use my keyboard, but maybe next time I'll try and set up my controller properly.
Yeah, I don't think it's
It'll
gonna
make it
be like,
easier.
yeah. I feel like
I can imagine one.
Yeah, I feel like when it comes to racing or party games, like controller is just like the best way to go for. By the by, Trumpet Collins, you have to press ready at like the home screen.
Ready. There it is.
There you go.
I'm getting ready.
That's okay. That's okay. Like, I will use the controller for some video games, even if I'm on the PC. The only ones I'm like, I will use the keyboard and mouse is like if there's a shooting element to it.
Yeah.
Because with that one, I'm
For
just
me, it
like,
depends on what kind of game. Like if the controls on the keyboard or on the controller are super tight, it's always worth it. Like Deep Rock Galactic controller.
is it really good using controller for Deep Rock?
Yes. Oh yeah.
I've never played it, so I have no fucking clue.
Oh, well, Dazzy's an expert at this. He's like modded the game and all kinds of shit, so he doesn't have to be like a thick bearded dwarf. He's instead like some twinky little kobold.
Rock and stone.
Of course, golden skill levels, golden skill.
And scales.
Down the dwarves, up the kobolds.
Alrighty. Oh, we're all the way at the back. Alright, here we go. I'm using the controller and I was like, oh, there's... Nope.
I was on the top for a while.
Yep. No, you okay? You'll.
Oh god.
All right.
I lost my speed.
Kill again. Oh god, I'm getting up room. Oh god. Troublemaker. What? Good for cheap.
Congrats. All right, our squad.
I was 10.
Whee! Yes.
Made it.
Yep, we made it. All right, so there's a dude wearing. Oh, this guy has like a cookie for Angrel. Hi, Angrel.
Hey, bro. What's happening, buddy?
Yeah, it's pretty natural.
So, yeah, the rest of the world is upside down. Although I do have a question. How did we decide, like, north was north, like, as the quote-unquote up?
Yeah, like, what about English in general? Like, how do we know that's certain words in certain things? Why did we decide that?
No, okay. English is just because, you know, Britain decided to colonize the rest of the world and, you know, do all that kind of stuff. But I mean, like, as the scientific community, how have we not considered, like, the equator as, like, the actual thing that, you know, even after rotation is like, oh, it's like the quote-unquote top of the Earth because we're tilted.
Why?
I do want to know.
Because one side is a positive attraction, the side is negative.
So diving is good.
Yes.
Oh god. Okay. I'm hitting everything.
I'm failing the chicken machine levels.
Nope.
I think I'm like this second to last. It's not going well for me.
Yeah, if the rest of the squad does well, then...
Come on. Still doing well. Right behind you guys.
Yep.
I'm on the top.
What's the top?
Oh fuck.
Ah, damn it. I wasn't able to go for like... Oh, nope.
Oh, you're in front of me now.
And now I'm all the way behind.
Oh no.
I'm behind you lads.
No, I'm in front of you. I'm right behind you.
Well, dude, two faces in front of me. That can't be
I don't
right.
know. But I'm in my thing, I'm right behind you. Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Just after you, there you go.
I made it! Apparently I was...
That guy is going on a journey on every single fight.
Alright, so it looks like we, like, each completion from a squad member allocates us points, and the collected total of our squad will tell us whether or not we qualify. So we're in the top 6 for now.
For now.
Yeah.
Out of how many?
Let's see how many, like, quote-unquote squads could be left.
I'm still shocked for something in this game after all these years.
I'm surprised that I'm doing better than a lot of other people. I'm not getting absolutely correct.
I think it's just a case of it's aesthetically pleasing without, you know, dating itself because it's not going for hyper-realism. It's just, you know...
Right.
It's that Mario Bros thing where, like, it just looks good creatively, and because it's mechanically sound, it, you know, it's going to remain relatively endless until we decide, oh, there's a better way to move.
Good luck, we're all
Technically,
gonna
the globe
die.
isn't even straight up and down. Our entire Milky Way galaxy is actually tilted on a sideways on a right angle when compared to our various other galactic neighbors.
Ah.
I'm breaking you guys.
Okay, so we're avoiding the fucking snowball. Okay, I get it now.
Yes.
The snowballs don't kill you, but they do not kill you nice.
Yeah.
That's why I'm cracking all guys right now.
Yeah,
That's what I was doing as well. I was going around the edges.
How do I hit people?
If you hold shift on your keyboard, it
Oh god.
Oh, Jesus! No! No! Oh!
Oh god. Oh god. Oh.
I got it. I got down, but the rest of the squad is fine.
Oh god. Oh god.
I'm still alive.
Alright.
A snowball saved me.
Alright.
I'm dead.
Alright. I need to
I'm still
adjust
alive
some...
somehow. Oh god.
Alright. I need to do
still
some
alive.
filter changes. All
You
right.
qualified.
Woo!
Yeah, because I made it.
All right, I just need to do some changes like the audio ducking because if you guys are talking, the game is still louder than you guys, but I need to fix that.
I've turned the game right down. I've actually, I had to turn you guys down a little bit less than me because I think you were more than me on my stream.
Oh,
How
I'm
to play
sorry.
Void Fake Tiles? Fine. Oh,
Okay, so
Fucking- this is
the goal
quick
here is
game.
just literally wait, kind of. Just chill.
kind of. It's literally Squid Game.
Avoid and finish.
The thing
the
is
path to-
if you're like at the end of this area, oh, they added more shit to it. Oh, that's awful.
Oh shit.
Oh.
I
Fun.
keep updating these maps.
All
Look at this
right.
one guy in front of us all.
Fuck this one red in particular.
This one red fucking guy just in front of us.
All right. Well,
Oh,
Alright, well I died too. Over
this
to the
way,
right.
over this way.
To the right.
oh. Trying to dive.
one of us just has to like remain being second or something like that, so then that way we're able to.
Fucking pansies.
Yep.
Bunch of
Put
your
hold on to
pansies.
someone and just keep pulling them.
Oh shit.
Grant is leading the charge level. He's down.
Yep. Sorry. But at least I.
It's the left.
Oh,
Hold on.
I was doing pretty well there.
Launch this.
Oh, we just need to.
If we find like one more, I think we can make the jump.
Oh
technically
no!
speaking.
Oh, someone pushed me. Because we just need to get like one tile closer, and then you could probably like just
Nobody wants
dash
to do
off.
it.
Oh, I got it. Oh god.
Oh, you figured out like the front? 'Cause we just need to go like one tile forward, and we're good. Ah, damn it. Although it looks like some people have started doing the.
Oh, go!
No!
Go,
I
go!
made it! I made it first! First!
I got knocked.
I got there!
Hi, Radium! Good to see
made
you.
it.
I
missed the messages.
made it, but I got knocked as I jumped for it.
Oh,
I could have been first.
I was first.
We didn't get enough
I was
points.
first.
We didn't get enough points.
No, I think we did 2 of
unfortunately.
us to get there. Yeah, it is what it is.
Alrighty then. Radium!
Yeah.
Radium, we got one more spot
suck a
for the group if you would like to join.
We're not watching this, are we? Are we watching this?
Are we able to skip this? Because I don't think any of us are
I'm
in
pretty
the...
sure. I'm pretty sure we can leave after it loads in.
Yeah, it's just saying-
I am FUR first.
Yeah, we can exit the show.
Yep,
All
there
right.
you go.
There we go. Alrighty then. Radium, GrantZeebs is the name of my epic. If you would like to add it, because unless... Is there a way of being able to invite people via code? Oh, hell yeah. The casual game belt. This is what gamers wear. This fucking belt.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, but sure.
Almost no level.
It's gonna look good.
To be fair, everyone still wants that like Nintendo game gauntlet, even though it does nothing.
It just looks cool. Alrighty.
What's that point?
R for the open party, and then I can go invite. Yep, there it is. Except then I can go and invite Radium. Let's see, are they in my Discord? It doesn't look like they are. Ooh, but I can just invite them, so I can just be like, post. You good?
Yep.
All right.
Invite.
Invite. It's gonna like instantly invite them into the VC, so it's gonna be a little bit funny if they click on it and then they weren't prepared. Donk. Sounds popping on mine. Oh, I think I know what it might be. Hang on a sec, chat.
What's up?
Just sometimes my mic, it's perfectly fine, like in OBS. But then it will do poppy nonsense in Discord. And I know why. Default?
Go suck a lemon.
There we go. Should be better now. Alright, T. Where is...
It wasn't too much of a big deal. Just I heard. I thought it was happening on stream. It was not.
It shouldn't be. The stream should be using the what's-mahoozy the
No, what's
Furry
amazing?
Cures 1221
Wavelength?
thinks you
Whatchamacallit?
should do 20
yeah.
squats.
Thank you. All right. Ding.
More squats or you good, buddy?
I know. All right.
Why do you have this on?
It used to be a lot more common. It used to be like 5-10 minutes. Now
least
I
you're
have
not
it down
doing
to
the
like
fucking,
half an hour.
At least you're not doing the push-up challenge.
Well, how are you
Quote
doing it? Is my question.
375.
I'm on.
My ass
I've
is
done
sore, I don't
96
want to have to do
exercise.
squats.
I'm just gonna say exercises because I don't do push-ups because my shoulder. So 96 exercises on day 1, 130 day 2, and today I've done 70 out of 175.
Jesus.
So today I got to do some more after the stream today.
All right, I gotta do my.
Tomorrow's a day off, thankfully. So
All right, I gotta do my 20 squats. Let me just bring in
I
radium.
might as well do them with you.
All right, you ready?
Fucking do it with you. Yep.
All right.
See,
then.
I could never do
I'll
exercising
do
on my
I can
stream.
be on. I can actually be on my camera for this. So yeah. So
All right, we're doing this chat. Multiple streamers are gonna be doing squats.
5. Fucking
I
choking
refuse.
myself in my own fucking cord. I do it since I've just hung myself.
4,
I refuse to do it.
5, 6,
12,
7,
14,
8,
16,
9,
17, 18,
10,
20,
11,
21, 22, 23,
12,
24, 25,
13,
26, 27, 28,
14. How are you doing it so fast?
21, 22, 23. I've got good legs. 24.
15.
I do taekwondo.
16,
38,
17,
9, 40, 41, 42, 43, 24, 25, 26,
20.
9, 50.
Thank you
Come
for
on,
the
Grant.
20 squats. Thank you for the 20 squats, Furry Cures.
Okay, I can add that to my count now.
Lol.
Fucking where is it? Bank.
Yeah, so the most
Plus-
you're getting out of me is I'll slowly move this cookie towards my mouth, and that's all the exercise you're getting out of me, lovelies.
There you go.
These two can do it.
Bank
I want
and
a
50
cookie.
squats.
It's really good. It's oatmeal with
I have-
chocolate chip,
Alrighty.
peanut butter, and
I have dried 2-minute noodles.
M&Ms.
Does that count?
sure.
I have a bottle of water and a Coca-Cola. Radium, what are you?
I've
What are
done
your
half
snacks?
of today.
I have nothing.
I have 55 more squat exercises
I
to
have
go.
an Arizona mango juice cocktail.
I have iced
Oh.
peach tea.
Hang on, Radium, you're in Discord and the game mic is on.
Okay, good.
Oops.
Yeah, I can hear both. I can hear both. And I was like, uh-oh.
But he's buff. He can't be that buff. Hang on a second. I don't remember what Trumpet Collins looks like. Hang on.
I'm not okay. Top wise, I'm not buff, but my legs got legs for days.
Legs for days.
Alright, there
the-
we go.
I mean, to be fair, my martial art is mainly kicking.
Oh, okay. Oh, wait. What? So, would that be?
Taekwondo.
Yes, that's what I was thinking of.
Yep.
The other one was something boxing. What's it called? Kickboxing.
Kickboxing.
That's it.
Let's go lay back for a second. Oh,
Ugh. This is what happens when you try and do like 50 really quickly. Is you're gonna be exhausted and out of breath, and I'm doing this.
120 to 130 beats per minute.
Alrighty.
I need to get it done.
Alright.
One of my viewers just got an advert. It's like, "You're so fat. Women who play games, we feel this every day online."
Ooh. Ooh.
What?
Oh,
Sipping time.
I don't know what the ad
sponsored
was,
by
but apparently it was
Ingram.
something like essentially hinting that female gamers are fat.
Oh wow. We.
My day be so
feel so
fine.
hurtful.
Yeah, you get a lot of show me your breastless.
Morning.
Yep. My chat is just filled with horny.
Especially
you
if
think
we
your
do
chat's so
especially,
horny? Have you seen
especially
my
if we
chat?
do shirt off. We rip the shirt off you. We do himbo cam and we do hydrate at the same time.
Like,
They keep
and
pushing
then
for a Dazzy After Dark channel.
I don't see the benefit of an After Dark in the context of Twitch.
Oh yeah, no, on Twitch, no. On like Victorio or just in Discord, yes.
On GTA, someone asked Lilith to show them in their X, and they play on Xbox.
Damn. Meanwhile, God damn it. Meanwhile, Radium
know.
doesn't let costs
I'm
nothing
wholesome.
to get like.
I'm not
wholesome.
mostly.
You have no
wholesome.
pants.
I'm so wholesome.
Me?
Is that SpongeBob Godzilla?
Oh my god, we have
SpongeBob.
SpongeBob.
Oh, we have
And a
SpongeBob.
And we have I have a weeaboo next to me.
I
Hello
got
Kitty
some.
weeaboo next to me.
I got some furry fox.
I should
God, I bounced
let
everywhere.
You know, I haven't played in forever.
That's okay.
This is the first time
this
I'm
is-
ever playing.
Yeah, I haven't played in probably 6
God.
months as well. But then there's the freeze time bullshit.
Fucking assholes, get out of the way.
Oh. Good luck, we got this!
Oh, I just ran into a wall.
Go.
Shit.
I'm on the top path.
Fuck. Shit. Fuck. Fuck.
Here we go.
Shit.
Here we go. Oh,
Oh, how am I staying on top?
Help. Okay, I'm good.
wee! Yep.
Almost there. Almost there.
27 points.
I was there.
24
And I
points.
fucked up the end.
Yep.
19.
Alright, 18.
Nice. All right,
Hello,
where's,
Carlos Lopez Fernandez, 61.
All right, where's
You love me.
Radium?
Okay, hi. Someone loves me already. I've only just met them.
All right. Looks like we're just gonna be seeing. So these are just randoms now. We're waiting for all of us in
Yeah,
our
these are
team.
randoms,
We made
yeah.
it through. Excellent.
Let's go, gamers.
See, Benru, I teach martial arts full time. That's my main job. I get to kick kids and get paid for it by their parents.
Lol.
It's fantastic.
My first thought
is
is
your
you're
job.
kicking them in the head or something like that. I know that's
Oh, yeah,
not the
no, I do.
case, but the first thought is
No, I
I'm gonna
do.
ki-
For the older kids, I absolutely kick them in the head if they don't get their hands up.
Yeah.
Oh, this one
I usually have a noodle, though.
sucks.
How to play, navigate the obstacle, finish the race. Okay.
So.
Okay.
So
Okay.
do you just get like? Do you just hit them extra hard, or do you just hit them in the nards when they're being misbehaving?
No, if they don't keep their, it's mainly they don't keep their hands up to protect their head. So I'm just smacking them in the head with the noodle all the time.
What, like a pool
It's
noodle?
hilarious. Yeah, a pool noodle. I'm literally just smashing them in the head and the face just to keep their hands up. Keep your hands up, whack! It is quite the fun ordeal. Oh god, this is terrifying.
Told you.
Oh god.
Yep.
Told you this one sucks.
Bounce. 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 I'm doing pretty alright. I'm still up the top.
Nah, I'm.
Well,
down on the
I
bottom now.
fell.
Okay. Time to go through fucking Wipeout. No, I fell. Fuck. I was doing well. Which way do I go? Fuck.
Just forward. Just forward.
Oh god, they're firing Pac-Mans at me.
Oh no, coconut.
This rhino, what the
This
fuck?
area sucks.
What the hell is that rhino?
Oh, it's just being a bit of a dick, isn't it?
Okay, dive.
What rhino?
Oh,
Oh,
God,
that
I died.
rhino.
I dived and
Oh,
hit
that
the
rhino.
roof. Oh no, you fuck.
You know what? This isn't too bad. This is kind of fun. It's kind of.
It is fun, it is. Oh god.
If you're really sadistic, it's pretty fun time.
Radium's just being a good sport. It's like, this is a fun
Oh,
time.
I made it. 20 points.
It's a very whimsical level.
You love me.
I
Like,
for Gryffindor.
thank you,
No,
Carlos.
I fell. Fuck.
15.
Someone loves me. They love.
We're second place.
Oh,
8 points.
I was gonna say go through the middle. If you go, I went through the middle and did a bounce pad, and it launched me to the next bounce pad and through the goal.
oh, we're second, chat.
I know you. I know other people love me. I'm just making
We're
a joke.
doing it. We're gamers.
We're being absolute. Oh my god, there's a guy in a full
these guys
horse
getting
costume.
Is that you're talking about yourself, right?
No. There was. I'm in like a dumb draft horse. Like it looks like made up. But look, there's that dude. Oh, he got kicked off.
Yeah, no, I saw him as he went down. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, you're
mine's
you're the superior horse.
No,
There's
mine's
a
just
Mecha
a.
Godzilla and an emoji.
I just saw the Godzilla. I just saw the Mecha Godzilla.
I
Didn't
will
see
always
him
stand
before.
by the meme that zebras are actually donkeys and not horses.
No, I refuse to accept.
I
We're part of the
can't pronounce that,
equestrian
Carlos.
race.
Sorry. I just have keyboard spam. That's my new password. All right, got
Survive
it.
as long as possible.
I got a new password in my chat now.
Neat.
We're going to
Stay
die.
in the arena. Stay in the arena. Don't fall off. Okay.
Easy.
How does this work?
Um,
What do I do? What's this ball thing next to me?
is it
I
because
have no
people?
idea.
Is it because like people can grab other people?
Maybe.
So.
Wait, is this dodgeball?
Oh god, they're bombs. Oh god,
It's
they're
dodge-
bombs.
It's dodgeball. It's dodgeball.
Oh,
I don't know how to pick up stuff.
I'm doing okay.
Oh, I do now.
Oops, I fell.
I think you ran from me and fell.
Oh.
I'm just standing over here.
I fell as well.
Chaos.
I see. Okay, so okay. For future, I understand this game now.
I go.
Who in our team is still alive?
You fuck. No, you fuck. I was being
saw
nice to
that.
you.
I saw that. That was unfortunate.
Did you see it?
There's only one of us left.
He's got
Me?
this.
Oh god.
Just go pacifist, okay? Don't be trying anything.
I'm just fucking running around. Just.
You have to take
God.
somebody out. The thing is, we're about to be in last place.
Oh no.
Well,
No, you fuck. No.
Ooh.
Yes. I'm still alive. I'm still alive. Ha 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 ha.
I don't know how I feel about the like. There was like a series of like all black Among Us is there.
Oh god.
Oh,
No. Oh.
how are you still
I'm-
alive?
I don't know. Also, I don't know how to throw shit.
I don't think you can throw. I think you can just grab and that's it.
you can. When you grab it, if you let go, it launches.
I'm trying to get that.
I mean, we have to be in the top 3.
We're 5th right now. It says.
Oh god, I launched that.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's still possible if there's no timer.
I don't think there is a timer. It's just, you know, squad gets a score.
Survive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Up 30 seconds.
No, there is a timer.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're not
there
gonna
is.
make
Yeah,
it.
tell new secure password. Tell submissive that get cute.
Well, shit.
I launched him.
Nice shot.
Nice. We're still 5th though. I don't know if we're gonna get it.
Nah, I think we get like.
Oh,
yeah,
it's rising.
Uh,
I just noticed the water's rising. Didn't see that.
Okay, that's a shame.
Oh yeah, it is.
I did not see that at all.
Yeah, I didn't.
Well, now
I
we
didn't
know.
catch on. So,
Yeah, I just jumped on it and I touched it and I was like, oh, okay, I'm dead.
yep. All right.
Bless you. Best friend sneezing.
Okay. All right. Confirm.
All right, we could probably exit now because we're all out, aren't we?
Yep.
Yeah. We should probably do that.
Prob-
Outfit. Just gonna go with a classic, and then.
They've changed his levels so incredibly much.
They made them
I
really.
mean, it can be a password if I do a lot of them.
All right.
Escape.
So we got
Exit.
fall ball cups. Player 3 round of fall ball in the final. Balancing act. Serpent slalom. Ooh.
Yeah, you just submitted your
These
sub.
outfits? What are we talking about here?
It's just there's these different custom showings or whatever, and I was just like reading them off aloud.
Oh, I see. I see. Oh, so these are creator-made maps. Oh, is that how they're doing maps now?
Yeah, I
Maybe,
feel like
yeah.
that's the route that every like sort of either free to play or battle pass platforms are going, is that because there comes a point where, you know, the pay
so
that
much
you have to
creativity.
give, yeah. So, and the best way you can make money is by not spending it.
Steal other people's things, yeah.
Imagine being a circumstance where you can literally make a game and then make your community make the game.
So I can tell you there's a few games like that too.
Oh, TF2 is one of them.
Oh yeah, but another game is Creeper World 3 and 4. So he's got the guys who made it essentially have initial maps, but really they just leave it up to the actual community, and they actually let them mod and recode the game to do different game modes.
Huh.
Wait,
so
why
they-
can't I ready
like-
up? Show's
Oh,
not
sorry.
selected.
Ready? So like the game is normally like a top-down type, you know, invasion style game, but people have made it like first-person shooter.
Huh.
It's not
stuff
letting me
like
ready up. What did I do?
What did you do?
What did you do?
It says show is not selected. Are we doing squad? What are we doing?
Serpent Slalom. So if I select this, does it not let you?
Why can't I join?
Yeah, it's not letting me join anymore. What
Weird.
just happened? Hang on, do I have to select a show as well?
Maybe.
I mean, I'm clicking on it, nothing's happening.
Yeah.
All right, swap back to squads then. Because like there should be, like if you're on keyboard and mouse, you can press Control.
I can queue
change
for
your-
that. That's weird.
Yeah, no, that was weird.
Awesome. I guess it's one. I guess Fall Guys has that weird thing where it's like everyone has to select the same show, otherwise it doesn't.
But I tried doing Serpent, it wouldn't work.
Yeah, it wouldn't work for me either. Is it like a premium map or something?
I mean, I'm not paying for anything, so.
No, I wasn't paying for anything either, and it sounded
Neither
like it
am
was,
I.
you know, a creator map, like, so freebies.
Yeah, that's
needed.
weird.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, Lilith is definitely not a sub in games. She can beat everyone down.
Beat down.
My friend looks like a god at gaming. She she beats up everyone in games and is just phenomenal.
An absolute bully.
She carries me through Warframe.
to
Nice.
she
be
carries me way
fair,
through all through
Warframe
She's
is a
full.
PvE, okay? You just need the right, like, mods, and you will, you know, go through everything. Like,
So
I
even
did,
other games like she wrecks in, like she does Destiny 2 a lot, and
Ooh.
she's very good at it.
The question is, how is she in Dark and Darker?
I don't know if she's ever played it.
I'm gonna be real with you, Dazzy. Like, I'm still on the fence with it, despite the fact I treat it very much like Dark Souls, where it's like, I know I don't want to play it. However, I keep playing
Oh, I'm
it.
winning! Go! Go, you get
Oh,
bastard!
yeah, what?
They knew it. Damn it. I thought
Oh,
I
no,
could,
someone
like,
bumped
jump.
me.
I thought I could jump
you
the whole
see her?
section by just leaping for the middle, but nah, doesn't let me.
No, you can't. I tried that.
Yeah.
The first game we did with this.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not doing too bad right now.
Yeah.
We're almost there.
I came second. Yeah, you carried
There we
me.
go.
You've carried me all the way through Elden Ring, pretty much. Yep.
Eat.
If you like Elden Ring, try Dark and Darker. It's fantastic.
I mean, I like Elden Ring when Lilith's playing with me, so she can just help me beat everything.
Did you ever play Escape from Tarkov?
No.
The dark sector in The Division.
Nope.
All right. Well, Dark and Darker is going to be one of those.
I know. I do know what the game Dark and Darker is. I have seen people play it.
Okay. Yeah. Because I was like, I can get behind the whole a hardcore PvP incentivized like dungeon crawler, but I can't get
Oh, man.
behind it needs to pick whether it's going to be, encouraging of other people joining in with you for the party, or the whole deception and, don't trust your own party kind of feels it has to it because of the fact that you have, you can have PvP within your party, and escape is a per person thing. You don't get the
If you
benefit
PvP
of.
in your party, you are able to be reported.
You're able, like, but
Oh,
here's the
you
thing.
fucks.
But it's more than that. It's
Sorry.
like if you want to like escape or something like that, it's only the one person that escapes. So it's either the person that's being a bit of a dick.
So they actually added 3-person down portals in the Inferno. The
Oh,
last
okay.
playtest. It's only an Inferno, mind you, but that's, you know how like Grant, me and you were camping out the entrance to floor 2.
Yep.
So, and all 3 of us could do that. So, technically
So a big-
speaking, it's not as
A
bad.
big thing for me and Lilith was we were playing Elden Ring. We actually got quite a few arseholes come and do PvP with us. Although I just watched Lilith half the time fight them off. But I did do some. We did some. I can't talk. We did do some good combos in some ways.
Nice.
And wreck some people.
Oh, am I
but
gonna
we've
come
had some
first?
arseholes. Yeah, I think you're gonna come first.
I fucked up. Y'all got this.
I'm doing pretty well on this level. I did fuck up originally when we all ran because
I'm
some people
almost
knocked
there.
me off, aka Grant. You
Don't
actually
worry,
knocked me off in the start.
I'm watching.
Fuck ups are still happening.
You can
We
you
are,
can run on those
first of all.
rails. Like you're
you
big
can run
enough.
rails.
No, but I kept falling, so I was like, this isn't helping. I'm just gonna.
Embrace your inner kobold and just tightrope walk. It's simple.
Yeah.
Is that Skeletor? Wait, hold on. Somebody's Skeletor?
Wait, hang on.
Hang
Someone
on.
is Skeletor. I saw Master
Skeletor.
Chief. I somehow.
There's Master Chief. Yep.
There he is. There's Skeletor.
There's Skeletor!
Where's Skeletor? Where's Skeletor? I'm looking for him.
Wade IO
That's amazing.
active.
Hey, man.
That's amazing. I love it.
I want that actually. It's just Skeletor.
Someone's still at the start. Someone's just. Oh, there's a pineapple. Pineapple person. I love some of these
That's
costumes.
really-
They're great.
Yeah.
Someone's at the start. They like haven't moved. They ran forward and then they stopped.
Yeah.
There's the
No,
timer.
oh, wait. Oh, that was. No, never mind.
Yeah, there's a timer. It's fine. It's fine.
You're good. We made it. We qualified. You're good.
Yeah, that's what's important.
See, yeah, Grant's a gentleman. He always comes second because his lady comes first.
If only I had a lady. Damn it.
Damn.
Damn.
I do. But she's not here, man. She's at work.
I also do, but she's asleep. 'cause
The
I'm
amount of
American.
flex at Furdu when you're like, yeah, I need to get going soon. I got my girlfriend's picking me up. I'm like, God damn this man.
I didn't mean to flex on you with that. To be fair, she was coming to pick me up, and I was like, okay, I gotta get going, you know.
Later, furries, I have my girlfriend to go see.
See ya, bitches. I got pussy to fuck.
You said that so
Alright.
concerningly.
Run. Run. Don't die, just don't die.
I'll run with you until I
He's
accidentally
got a
fall.
bomb!
Suicide!
You almost took 3 of us out with you.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh god, I didn't realize who we are. Hello.
They were all behind you.
Oh, fuck off. Get off me. Come here, bitch.
I might just grab a bomb and throw it at Master Chief real quick. 1 sec.
Oh god, now I'm dead. I got knocked off.
Oh, I'm still alive. I'm in the center.
I got hit by the hammer up the top. I would say probably kind of be up the when this timer starts. Try and get to that top area
I am
Yep.
moving.
where the
Oh yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's like the highest area.
Yep.
That's where the others were sitting last time. Yeah, I get shark snuggles. I get sharky snuggles. Nice.
Well, so far so good. Did one of
Yeah,
us
no one
die?
can say no to a cute shark snuggle.
Yeah, one of us did.
Be careful, that hammer knocked me off, Grant.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm grabbing people and moving them to the hammer.
Be careful though, that guy's about to.
Oh.
I think you gotta throw it to actually properly
There
get
we
the,
go.
effect.
No, you can definitely kamikaze it, I think.
I've tried several times up there and it didn't really work that well. Oh,
Oh,
I think it's also a radius of how big, like,
Yeah.
how big it is.
An area
I think
of
everyone just
effect.
got out of it. Yeah, AOE.
come on.
I'm trying to
Well,
get
at the
into
very
it.
least, if it was a top 4,
Oh, did you get that other guy?
pretty sure we more or less won.
Oh, Skeletor's still in.
We're still first, which
That's
is
right,
a
you
good thing.
You can grab ledges.
Worst-
I forgot you can grab ledges.
We're pink number.
I just watched
Oh, we're
Skeletor
second
grab a
now.
ledge. I'm like, oh. Yay, we're second.
Yeah, but it's top 4 wins, and yeah, we're good.
I think we're good so long
We're
as not
fine.
more of us die. And I'm just like
Yeah.
trying to get people to the hammer. Come on, get in the hammer.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure at this point we could all just dive into the drink and win.
I mean, having 3 of
I
us up
will
there is very
not.
helpful.
I
Oh,
will.
they almost killed themselves.
Come on, Grant, let's go, Grant.
I'm at,
Come on, Grant, for Tiamat, let's go.
I'm at
Suicide Pact, let's go.
Oh,
Yes.
yes,
We
we
survived.
survived.
Nice. Well done.
All right. Wait, have fun with your stream, mate. Not to worry, Strawberry Cat. Sorry, I didn't start a game.
What's happening?
what?
I just had the thought of like doing a few rounds with just you guys, and then checking it with chat. How many of them were interested in also playing Fall Guys? And if there was like enough people, like maybe I think 2 or 4 more, we do like because I think you can do like a private show
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So
You get up to 80 people, I think, for 60 or something.
A private.
Who wants a
show.
spicy joke? Spicy joke?
Go
Spicy
for it.
joke.
Since Eve was made from Adam, then the Bible is the origin of the "What are you doing, stepbro" meme.
I hate it.
Thank Ben Rue for that.
Oh, thank you, Ben Rue.
I've got my own one. 3 women are in a bar talking about how loose they are. One fits a sausage, one fits a cucumber, the last one slides down the bar stool.
See, I have a nightmare piece of cringe trivia.
Oh god, I keep getting hit by these fucking snowballs.
Cringe.
If you think
trivia.
about it, a Hooters.
I fell.
Oh, shit.
No.
I fell as well. A Hooters
Oh.
is just an American version of a med cafe.
That's just a spicy take on, you know,
wrong.
Hooters and shit like that. It's not that crazy.
It's not. Yeah.
It's an American med cafe.
I the only one left.
It's
Oh
in the
god,
same
okay.
realm as when people tell you that Attack on Titan is a mecha anime.
Oh god. Oh god, run over.
No.
Still alive.
Yes.
Oh god, okay. If we're talking about Attack on Titan, I've got a meme of someone putting my face on the giant Titan.
No.
I'll post it into the server for you guys.
No,
Where is
we're
it?
out. That's us out of the
me.
game.
Yeah, because I was anyone left. Memes, here we go. Someone got my face and put it on the giant Titan peering over the wall at Eren. And there it is. I just put it in memes if you want to show it up on stream, Grant.
Oh, yep, there it is. All right, let me go grab it. Oh, God.
Chat can
I got the
appreciate
exit.
my face.
Appreciate the meme, chat. One
No.
moment.
Let me.
I'll put it.
exit.
I'll put it in my. I'll show it off myself. Hang on,
Alright.
let me exit this. Let me open it so people can see
Quote
it
132.
on my stream.
I am going
Yeah,
to
I made
roll
that
my
face
meat.
one time, and one of my friends just grabbed it and just shoved it on there. It was just perfect.
Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Attack on.
Stream.
There we go. And there it is, chat.
Why do I
Image.
have a Hatsune
That's awesome.
Miku paint on my character?
Oh, what? Sorry?
Fuck. It's Hatsune Miku. Look at my character.
I'm so jealous.
Let me get out of it. Let me get to the thingy.
There it is. There's
Oh,
me.
okay, it's just there.
Everyone. Enjoy
I'm
that.
so jealous.
That's amazing.
There's my face.
Alright.
I have a lot of funny art. Like there's someone's made an art of me and their character and another friend's character, like, and we're turned into Voltron essentially as me as a Minecraft sword.
Oh, that's cool.
Where is it?
I
Let me
feel
see if
like
I can get it.
collab art is like, whether it's a meme or if it's wholesome, that's like, it's not a relationship goal. It could go to a relationship goal if you want, but it's just a friendship goal.
There it is. Here we go. Me as a diamond sword. My stream.
I just saw it on your stream. I was expecting an actual Voltron, not whatever that is.
One doing a handstand, one sitting on the legs, and me getting held in one hand.
Oh my god.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's just like thrown
I've got
all
quite a few good
together.
ones. I've got one of me as this one. This is a great one. This is one of my friends. Wow, the one that was on the arms. You'll like it, Grant.
Let me have a look. Oh my god, he's so big! Oh.
And he says, "I know I'm beautiful, but your validation is what really keeps me going."
Oh, and he's got the cursed hands and feet as well.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Hang on a sec. Maybe I can move him over. I'm gonna move over to this window. I'm gonna go to sources. And then turn off the PC capture to present this fucking thing.
It's abomination.
Oh
Yeah,
my
hey, you
God.
only make gains if there's selfies as evidence. Yep.
Yep.
And then I'm just like looking for all my meme shit now. There's me as a Zakian. Oh yeah, smoosh. I forgot about the smoosh. I've been smooshed.
Smoosh.
Smoosh.
Smoosh. Oh, there it is. Hang on. Smoosh.
Smoosh.
You have a lot of like cursed meme images, don't you, Radium? You got the
Generally?
generally.
Not of myself. I mean, the one that. What? The one? Don't look at me. Why did you zoom in?
Because look at your
I can see it
character.
on stream.
I can't show a lot of this. I can't show.
There's a lot of it that I can't show my stuff either, just because that's
We
that's
all have that kind of stuff.
Well, that's the
this is
origin of like
Zakian
how I got into the furry community was just because it's like, oh, like people roleplay and
Oh
shit.
man, Andre, should I tell everyone how I got in the furry community?
Oh, how did you get in?
Should I tell everyone how I got in the furry community? How you how you essentially corrupted me. My best friend made me a furry.
Exactly.
All right. Tell the people on what you did to me.
Oh, is this
sent
the
me
best
where?
friend telling the story?
I sent him to F-list to create an account there and a character.
He sent me to F-list.
All I can say is, you're welcome.
Man, back in the day when I thought, man, it's so convenient that there's a website that will tell you the yes and the no kinks. I'm just going to refer to this as like anytime people ask me, hey, do I want to collab? It's like, so long as it's within these categories, sounds good.
Yeah.
I have since removed that account because I realize it's a problem.
I forgot my passwords and all that to that account.
Alright, next squad. Oh my god.
I spy a wild sash in chat.
Hi, Sash. Sorry, can't join today. Hope you guys are having a good time. We're having a great time.
There are two pictures that I could technically show people.
Check.
Chat,
Well,
technically
at least
great
one
time,
round.
right?
Yeah. I don't know. Did you say that's the one I can show? Nah.
He's got a gun.
You just want to. You just want to see it.
My glasses on.
I'm also trying to play games.
Ah, yeah.
That one's okay.
You can see how.
Who gave a zebra a gun?
I know.
Zebra with a gun.
I'll show them after this game.
Yeah, I'd say that one's safe.
Yeah. I got at least 3 pictures of us that's kind of safe, I guess.
Kinda.
I mean, it's not showing nudity, but Grant shows more nudity on his stream than I would in that picture.
Judge!
I have been like pushing like the buttons on Twitch
There's
as
fur
well,
in the way.
just to see if I can get away with it. So
Your Sona's a wombat. Interesting. I don't think I've seen a wombat Sona before.
that's
Oh god.
That's some nice quality
Wombat
Sona,
sofa.
honestly. Like, I'm glad we've
God,
moved
God.
away from the age of, you know, the crazy colored personas or the several different species crossed into one another.
I think
like-
people think I'm several species crossed into one, but I'm really not.
You're just wolf,
just an-
aren't you?
No, Wolf Lord. I'm
think
like a
hybrids
like a more
are
an
valid.
advanced. Oh, there's a Cuphead. I saw a Cuphead.
I'm the most superior high-level race of
I
fur.
think hybrids
Kobold.
and
That level
No,
of trash.
hybrids and
no,
sparkle dogs are
mine-
very valid. Why are you zooming in?
I'm too wolf.
Because you're
No.
having an opinion, and I feel like you can have a platform.
Why? I just think that they're neat.
So
Calm down.
yeah, no,
Orange.
Grant. I'm a Wolf Lord, so I'm essentially like an advanced species of wolf, like an evolved species.
Everyone's allowed to be happy.
Everyone's allowed to be happy. I'm just saying, like in the progression of creativity and such like that. I like that.
Technically, if I marry Cass, I will be a
get it.
lord.
There's room
You help
for
me with that.
everyone. There's room for everyone.
Yeah,
I
there
know.
is. So
There's
and
more room for everyone. And
I
it's
just like that we're able to, you know, bring in new species that are, you know, not 100% fictitious, and
I
instead
still
are
like
like,
to
you
think
know,
of myself if I was a lord. It'd be cool.
like capybaras. Like I've met one capybara
I've seen a
furry,
capybara.
and I'm gonna be real with you. It probably is like the
Yeah.
closest to a capybara you can get. It doesn't do crazy colors and such, but that is way more unique to me than a zebra with rainbow stripes as opposed to just a normal zebra.
Come here, Grant. I'm coming for that butt.
Ah!
Well, I fell, so I'm fucked. Good luck, gentlemen.
Still time.
Still,
How do you get on that
got-
fucking top bloody?
I think you
Hype
need
at the end.
momentum. Unfortunately,
You need a lot of momentum.
because there's all these like
If
arrows.
you time it right, you can. Yeah, if you time it right, you can not lose momentum.
Yeah.
If you like jump midair or dive midair.
Yeah.
You're a butt. Yep. Okay. Done that round. Let me try and get another picture up. So I'll show one of me and Lilith together. We got some cute ones together.
Wait.
Wait, was somebody's name just Monster Hunter weapon symbols?
Wait, really? Oh, that one's a big picture. That's a big picture.
Okay.
Let me make this small.
I think
Yeah, it's
so.
mega. a mega picture. Holy shit! Why is it so big? There we
Need
go.
all the resolution.
We gotta avoid
All
the
the
rhino.
Oh, okay. So there's me and Laura.
Oh,
edges.
this one sucks.
We'll be
And then
fine.
here's another one of us. Where is it?
The
Uh,
the rhinos.
starting. I'll show in a second.
The rhino's effect is bigger than it appears.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh god.
The hitbox is about as wide
There's
as
also
its
bounce
hips.
pads.
Okay.
Yeah, the bounce pads can save you, but
Yeah.
Good luck.
Nope. Go away. Leave me alone. No. Leave me alone. He's going after my butt. He was. Oh, I'm off. That one wanted my ass. He went for me. No one else was near me, so he just went after me.
Not Chuck Norris. One's down already. Oh shit.
Oh god.
Oh!
Oh. What? How it? Oh.
I'm out.
I watched you fly around. Come on, you two.
Close. Close.
All right. Well, while I'm out. Oh, someone joined the orchestra. Oh, someone joined the orchestra. Here we go. That is a really cool, interesting one.
Oh gosh.
Is anybody in our squad still alive?
yes,
Yeah,
me and
No. Oh no, I'm fine. No. Okay, I'm fine.
Watch out! Oh.
That was a journey. That was an emotional journey.
If you can
Yeah,
do
I
it,
was
just
watching-
stop. No,
I
we're not
don't
gonna
wish to
make it.
have
Maybe.
any more for the rest of the year. That'd be great.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't make
Aw.
it.
It's top 3.
Dang.
Yeah.
How did I get flawless victory? What?
Oh no. Angry. Yours is just a cow. Stefako back to the interesting species. Interesting species.
What are-
Yeah, no, exactly.
What are the cute images do I have?
Just find you know, existing species in the world.
one of us
Some of them are
dancing.
cool.
Here's,
Alright.
here's another one.
See, I always love all the dinosaur ones. I don't know why. It's the inner nerd in me, but I love it to pieces.
The one I've got screen is my favorite mission of me and Lilith. Ones that I
Ooh, hang on. Ooh, that's nice. Very lovely, very
Yeah.
fancy with the suit and the tie. Or bow tie.
Did you see the one before
This
that one?
gentleman.
I think it was the hugging one?
Yeah.
Yeah, the huggy one. Different colors.
I had this one. This one was hand done by a friend of mine. It was so tiny. This was hand done.
Oh, that's cool. I'm not a huge fan of the feral, but I do appreciate the work they do.
They did a good amount of work in it.
Yeah. A lot of work on
One
the
of the
feet.
ones, so I have. Here's my girlfriend Sona. She's adorable. Yeah, I'll make
Aw,
her
she's
small
got
so you can-
wings.
You can see. Yeah, she's very
Yeah.
cute.
Sweet.
She's a very cute. Let's see.
Just pulling
What
out the
other ones do I
little art binder of like, oh, here's my girlfriend where we got a commission of us at
Yep.
the beach.
Well, here's one of me and Lilith at the beach. Cass doesn't really want to get too much art, but I'm always happy to get her some.
Mm.
But here's me and Lilith at the beach, just sort of laying down.
Ooh. Nice.
It's a cool one. Yeah. I got a lot of good art.
Yeah.
I know how to get a lot of good artists.
Mm.
Oh, this is actually Grant. This is me and a few other Australian furs that came to Furdu. We did it for Christmas last year.
Oh, that's awesome.
There's like
that's a
you got,
lot of work.
You got like Dakota. You got like Kima, me. Who else is there? Flaxwing, Torrager, Shadow. There's a few there who came to Furdu this year as well.
I recognize none of those names. I'm sorry to say.
That's all right. You might have seen them at Furdu, but yeah.
I don't know. Like while I know like a number of people who are furry, it's one of those cases where I'm just like, oh, I know none of the furries in Australia.
I honestly, for a while, did not either. I've been a furry for like, I don't know how long, 6-7 years now, and I didn't know like anyone except for my best friend.
Yeah.
And then I slowly started finding people. Like last year was my I mean, this year was technically my first Furdu I went into. Last year I sat in the lobby playing board games the whole time because I didn't have enough money for a ticket. Got a bit in trouble for that, but you know, people still enjoyed it.
Well, hotel lobby, best con.
When we're still at the when we're still at the Manturon view.
Yeah, but that one's because it had a big lobby. So
Yeah,
the other place,
and a lot of people apparently got complaints of me being in the way, even though I wasn't in the way. I was actually like in the corner. But yeah. Anyway. Ooh, what is this map? What the fuck?
you go in the tubes and you get shot out.
Oh my.
It's a series of tubes.
Oh, this
So
is funny.
basically, we're hamsters now.
No, it's rats. I'm pretty sure.
Oh shit.
Rats.
I am all over the
Yeah,
place.
rats.
God.
We spray
We're
it.
not playing Vermintide.
We play at night. We're the rats. I'm the giant rat. who
Go,
makes all
go. Oh
of the
god. I got
rules.
bounced towards the area.
I have no idea where I'm going anymore.
Go, go, go. Get the pipe. Yep. Got it. Yes, you can grab. Okay. Just a bunch of us on this fucking thing. Oh, I want to jump. Ooh, okay, I gotta go up here. Okay. Oh god, I missed that by a long way.
Oh,
Oh my god, there's more.
Oh god, no.
oh no!
Oh, I made it into the hole. There we go. I don't know where I'm going.
Goal is the goal.
Whee! Oh, I missed it.
I say this side. There we
Well,
go.
I made it to the goal.
So did I.
Good
What
for you.
place are we at?
Straight after.
6.
Oh god, we ain't looking
No,
too good.
6.
Oh no!
Run, get. Oh, how did you miss the hole?
Look, I'm not great at getting into holes. Okay, it's not.
How do
like,
we
a
get from
skill.
6th to 3rd?
No wonder.
Yes. I'm not a hole
What
expert.
is that
okay.
guy doing? What is he holding? He's holding something.
Who?
Oh, there's
Eastward
concerned
spell.
face. He looked like he's holding something the whole time. Where is that guy? Where is Eastward spell? What the fuck?
No idea.
No idea.
He is at the start in the air stuck.
Terrible.
Interesting.
Dun, dun. Ah, another race where it's like being second is probably a good place to be.
Mm-hmm. If I remember correctly, each time you go further, it's one door that doesn't work, so...
Yeah.
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 I will always pat the sharks on the snoot.
Just rotate sharks, I love it.
Yep.
Oh my god, Liz, I need a art piece with you of me rotating you like they do in the in those videos.
Here we go.
I am succeeding so far. I'm going straight.
Nice.
Oh, it's working so far.
It is.
Oh, I gotta deviate. Hell yes.
Okay,
right.
5 left.
I'm gonna go
Send
for a
the boys.
different one.
Nope.
Nope.
No. Oh,
Nope. Far left. Far left.
Fuck. It's
No.
on the right.
Right.
All right, 2 on the
I was gonna
far
say,
right.
well.
Uh,
Oh god, we are way far behind.
oh.
Yeah.
Here we go.
We might not make this. Oh, I knocked someone over. I knocked someone out.
No.
I knocked out the
It's top
cupcake.
5. It's top 5.
Oh.
I didn't even make it
so
there.
close.
All of us.
That was so
I was literally on
many.
the finish line.
We were all clumped there.
Yeah.
All of us right there.
Shame.
Oh.
I need to leave.
Shame.
You need a what? Sorry.
Oh no, I was trying to exit the game.
Oh, okay.
The spectation.
Radio.
You're gonna go get snack, Lilith? Okay. I'll see you in a bit, Lilith. Oh, man, we were all so close.
It was.
You were just lucking out with like all the doors in the first half
was
as well. It was just
literally-
like,
Oh yeah, I was just like
On
going for the
finish
center.
line, jumping.
Milkshake.
Into the
I want a
finish line.
milkshake. I feel like a milkshake now.
Maybe sad.
milkshake or root beer float, which is better?
Milkshake.
Mm.
In my
Milkshake,
opinion.
I'd say, because root beer float
I'm
is
not a
just
big
an
fan
ice
of root
cream
beer.
in the soda. It's not the same.
Okay,
Yeah.
milkshake or chocolate malt?
See, we
Ooh,
don't
chocolate
call them root beer floats here. We call them. I thought I exited. We call them spiders.
Spiders.
Which is just
Yeah.
blech.
Is anybody else stuck on the Hoopsie Legends loading screen?
I am not.
No, I'm on the show summary screen.
I might have to exit the game real quick.
Alrighty then.
Yeah, 1 second.
I have water. That's what I have right now. I am a healthy boy,
I'm gonna have some water. as
kind
well.
of. Even though I just had I had KFC for like lunch. I'm a healthy boy, KFC.
Yep. Every Australian is weak to KFC.
Especially when I live literally like less than a minute away from one. It's
It's
down the
not
road.
even that good though.
Ours is. Ours is
The-
actually really good.
Dazzy, you will never be able to convince an Australian that KFC isn't like their best fast food in the country.
I've got to say, I've been to America.
Yeah.
I went and I've tried out different fast foods there. It was mainly New York, and holy shit, I will never go back to Macca's in America again because holy fuck, it's horrible.
Oh, it's the lowest common denominator.
It's
here's
so
the thing
disgusting.
though. It really
KFC was-
depends. It really depends because by my dad on the East Coast, McDonald's top tier. In the West and Midwest, it's awful. It's absolutely awful.
The one in fucking like New York, like around near Times Square. I can't remember exactly where it was because this was like 7-8 years ago. But it was just like like everything was disgusting. Like it was so bad. The chips were just all soggy, even though they were constantly making them. They were just all soggy with
Grant,
oil.
invite me.
What?
And then
Oh yeah, I need to invite you.
Yes.
Where are you? There you are. Invite.
sarsaparilla is the Aussie equivalent of root beer. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's how root beer is.
Yeah, but
I'm ready.
Australia just doesn't have that many options in terms of fast food because it's just so expensive. The minute you want to get out of like McDonald's, for instance, like $17 burgers are like the norm once you get out of McDonald's, and I'm like, that is not
Although-
worth.
One thing I do like is not having to pay an extra fee of tax on top of like every purchase. That was something that kind of shocked me in America because it's all included in the price.
Oh yeah, in Australia
In
it's
Australia.
included. That's GST. They don't have it in
Yeah.
the US because I think the tax is different in each state.
It is.
Yes.
It's actually different
Yeah.
in each county of each state.
What?
Yeah.
God.
So like
Why so complicated?
because different
America is
good
so
America.
big, it causes
In-
its own problems.
In
It
in
does.
1887, the U.S. people across the original 13. Hang on a second. Let me just get the right music going to explain to
Because
Trumpet
freedom
Collins.
is America.
In 1887, the American people stood up against the British Empire and wouldn't pay their exorbitant tea prices, stamp prices, and the monarchy's tyranny. 13 nations rose up and declared themselves independent against the monarchy, and against the odds became a republic thanks to the will of George Washington, who also rejected monarchy when the time came for government. And so, for 200 plus years, the American people, as destiny has been manifested and purchases were made, became the 50 states of the United States of America. Oh, hang on, the game's
Plus all the
starting.
territories too.
Oh, we don't count the territories because then
the
that,
territories.
that fucks up the count. It's 50 states. We don't care about the territories like DC.
Oh, so close to the top one.
I
We're
mean,
gonna
they
have a
do
question.
also pay taxes for the U.S.
That's true.
Those territories, and they don't have voting power, so that's always great.
So our
that's good.
taxes automatically come out of our like paychecks, so we don't have to think about it. The only thing we do is tax return, pretty much by ourselves to get
Yeah.
our like a lot of our tax money back.
Yeah.
I mean,
which is quite nice.
we have tax returns too, but taxes themselves are just complicated.
It's
Yeah.
painful, to
It's
say
not
the
that
least.
We boing.
Grant, have you ever seen the YouTube video called Australian Diplomacy, by the way?
Oh God.
Are you talking about like the man that was like,
I've seen that.
it's like, what is the crime? A succulent
No.
Chinese male? Oh, okay.
No, I'm gonna have to show
man,
you
that was
now.
perfect. Oh, I got on every single fucking thing except for
Well,
the
I'm
very
not
first
looking
one.
good.
There we go. There we go.
I managed to grab the trapeze and fling myself into those holes.
Oh, that
At
was
the end.
amazing.
Here, Grant, let me send this to you
That
real
felt good.
quick.
All right, you're gonna need to send this to me because I am color me curious now. Because like, sure, I've lived in
No,
Australia
please.
for close to 20 years, but anyone who hears my accent, it's like, you're not Australian.
You know, yeah, I immediately thought that. I thought you're like, did you come with Adler? That was my first thought.
This is the dumbest American v Australian propaganda video I've ever
Oh, we're versing
found. And I
Mecha
love
Godzilla
it.
again.
Okay, I'm gonna need a.
It's not real propaganda, by the way. It's not real propaganda.
No, it's not. But like, I'm still gonna watch it. I will probably need. I need to make like a meme review channel or something like, or stream or something where it's just like, all right, checking out all kinds of different videos and then going through the
Undertaker at
Discord.
the bottom right.
What?
Wait, do we have
Missed
the Undertaker?
One of these beans has fucking pecs, and it's scary. What the fuck was that? That was the most disturbing thing I've ever seen.
Grant, for all your American viewers, you should review some of the Australian ads, like the Carlton Draft. It's a big ad.
Oh, that's just a classic. And Australia
I know,
doesn't
like
do
stuff like that.
Like, here's the thing. There's the Australians like big ad. Qantas, anytime Qantas decides to do an advertisement, like the kids with I still call Australia home.
We still call
Australia home. Like, there's a number of good ads from Australia. And the reason why it's so easy to remember is because Australia just doesn't do good
God, what is this
ads.
map?
It's like years between good ads.
I'm
whereas in
sorry.
Australia,
Oh yeah.
every Super Bowl, there's going to be at least 2 or 3 new bangers, like Post Malone.
Or what about the full cream milk?
Low fat,
Just
no
doesn't taste
fat,
like real
high
milk.
calcium, omega 3.
High folate with extra dollop. I just want milk that tastes like real milk.
This tastes like real milk.
And only 2%
shit.
2% fat.
Oh, damn it.
Oh my god, I'm getting ruined. This
Come on,
map
we
is
can do it.
horrible.
Grant, no,
I don't like it.
sucks.
Yep.
What is
I
this
don't
map?
like this map. What is this place?
I've been stuck in the second part the entire time. I just finished it.
Oh,
How am I
To the
going?
third part, I think. I don't know where I am anymore.
okay, I just went.
Weird inflatable faces.
I got past the weird
I just did
inflatable
that.
places.
I'm on the next part of that. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god.
The
Okay,
fucked
I'm
up thing is, depending on where you go, you get different puzzles. I hate it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
Jesus.
I'm in the next. I'm on the balance boards. Come on, flip, you
I just
bastard.
saw Grant next to me. I think.
Okay, I just passed Trumpet. Collins, no, no.
Fucked it. Oh,
When the balance
I
boards-
shouldn't say sucked in. We're on the same team.
And then,
I shouldn't really say sucked in. Oh fuck! Where the fuck was? That's a weird place to put a fucking hole.
No!
Okay. Oh, there's a swing up there. That's why.
here we go.
No.
And
I'm not looking too
18
good.
points. There we go.
I'm not looking good at all either.
Oh,
I'm just gonna.
Top
I'm gonna go
four.
along here.
Top 4 is all we need.
Help!
Okay,
Collins,
I've gone along the pipe. The pipe is the best way.
Radium, you good?
There we go. 14. Where are you? What's over there?
I made it.
Okay, I'm good. I'm out.
Oh,
Hang on.
our squad's
Yeah, no, there
first.
is Undertaker. There is an Undertaker. He's at the exit. He's at the end, but he didn't get there.
And he's got fucking Look at him. He's got pecs and a beard. It's creepy.
Does he have pecs? I can't see pecs.
Look at
He's
him.
got
Look at his
pecs.
Oh my
right.
god,
Look
he
at him.
does. Yeah.
No,
It's
I
fucking
saw
weird.
Miku fall
He
and
made it
die.
as well.
Ugh. Oh,
Oh,
do
we
you
have
know
we have
do you know-
the mayor of Halloween Town there as well.
I saw that.
I think we also have Scout.
Do you know
Yeah,
the
what was
reading
it?
writing hotline number?
Oh god. 1300 6996
6555.
6555. Sorry,
No
what is
idea
it?
what you're talking about.
There's
Oh,
a reading
there's a-
writing hotline, so you can read this number to help them with your reading and writing.
They like some things they've helped like they mention is like doing your taxes was one of them.
Okay.
Here's one. I gotta think how it starts. I just fell into just a random asshole. When you're in the backyard playing in your neighborhood World Cup and your window takes a cracking cover drive, give ASAP Glass a call. They'll be in no time at all. And under 30 minutes, they'll arrive. 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Ring 1-300-734-584 and say, hey, my glass
Get
is
ready.
cactus and I need to fix it fast. ASAP Glass.
Go,
Oh
go,
shit!
go,
Go, go, go! Come here! Oh, fuck!
Oh, we got into the other way.
Make it.
I think we made it.
I just
don't
sung
know, I
that
got
whole
five.
lot. I am impressed.
Yeah.
Nine.
I saw that one person like step forward and I was like, oh, this is it.
Yeah, I was the only one left
Oh
behind.
my god.
I
Okay.
ran like to the right.
There's
Everyone
only
was
two
still
squads
confused.
left.
Yes, it's us.
Oh.
We might get a
it's
win.
pretty much final showdown.
Oh.
Here we
no.
go.
Knock on wood.
Just live,
Knock
just
on
live,
wood.
lads.
All right.
Oh, it's okay. We get it. It's okay. Jump, duck and
Yep.
jump. Okay.
Oh,
There's
fans
there is
in
no
it?
ducking,
Game-
so
oh,
it's
there's
just a case of yep.
There's
And
no
there's a
ducking,
fan.
but you can ragdoll or jump, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is a fan.
Oh,
There is
and
a
the
fan.
the floor is falling.
And the
Oh.
floor is
God.
falling.
Oh no! The fan was stuck there for longer than I planned. Oh damn it!
Oh fuck.
Oh god, this is not good.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, we're good. Oh no!
No.
Oh, I made it!
Okay.
How did I make that? How did I survive? I had the top
Okay.
and the bottom.
Who's left?
in time. And I got through the
I was
middle.
there with
Oh,
No,
you.
I'm down. I'm
Oh
down.
no!
No!
I'm still alive. I'm still alive.
Gone!
Oh! How did I make it? Oh!
I think
Oh,
blue is
that
the next
guy
one
needs
that
to
goes
move
away.
Oh,
Come
okay.
on.
It's either one of these sides. Oh, it's one of us each.
Oh
Oh,
no!
it might be him. It might be him. I think. Oh no, it's gonna be me.
Come
isn't it?
on,
No, it might be him.
come on,
Just
come on.
Who is it? Or maybe it just stays like this
Until. Oh.
until one of us fucks up.
yeah.
I think it's just till one of us fucks up. Oh no!
So close.
Oh, so close.
So
just-
close.
If I didn't jump,
It's
Oh.
okay. That
Brett sounds so disheartened.
we went so far. Trevor
report
Collins,
them.
you did such a great job keeping us up there as long as you did.
Support them.
Oh.
Dazzy, stop spreading your
report.
baseless eagle propaganda. Don't lie to me, Sash. It's a good video.
Also, Sash,
should
what are
watch
you
it.
doing, like talking in my chat when you got your own chat? Hang on a second. Where is?
Yeah, she's also streaming. She's gonna go for some V Rising, I think.
All right, hang on a second.
Sash, stinky
Swallow
fox.
the squeaky toy. Can I throw things at you? Oh, I can do the chicken wing, chicken wing. What does that do?
What outfits do I have now?
She sings the chicken wing song.
Oh, okay, cool. Redeem. Something went wrong. Oh, I'm
Hold on. What do I have here?
just gonna throw more things.
Like looking at all the stuff I can do.
I have
Still has
45,000 points, which I do a Sash.
I got
have
7,000.
We'll do
but none
Swallow
of them were
Squeaky
redeemed.
Toy.
I have 1,500.
With Sash's channel?
Yep.
Oh
Yeah.
no, I meant in the game.
Ah, okay.
I meant in the game. I was talking in the game.
I'm throwing all things at Sash. Bully the fox! Go, go!
Throw things.
I should probably get more things to do with my points and all that. My doots. I don't really have much. I don't know how to do much, honestly.
Sash is getting destroyed.
Yep.
To be fair, there's not much you can do
There
IRL
we go.
compared to like VR avatars like you guys.
True.
I know.
Besides making me do shit.
I know CDog VA. I don't know who coded it, but they got a Nerf gun, and they got like a controller or something for it, so that was link twitched. So when someone
Okay.
decided to like, they
Just fire at his head.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, someone could probably I could probably put something in the doots where Andre does shit to me just to annoy me.
Maybe.
Isn't that right, Andre? He's not listening. He's in
Well.
the kitchen. He's not listening at all.
Okay, now y'all just bully. I'm sorry, Sash.
Nah, they needed to be like just given a teeny.
They need to be
bit of-
bullied.
Just a
Well,
teeny bit.
Oh, I just realized I'm not readying up. I should ready up.
I redeemed the squeaky voice too, so all I could do was the squeaky voice because the voice mod.
Yep.
Yeah, when you're over 20, annoying your friends is how you keep them around. Yep, I'm 30 now, so
Oh. Yep.
I live with my best friend. So we annoy each other.
Yeah. It's hard making new friends as you get older because you don't have like a school to go to. You just like you make work friends, sure, but you don't hang out.
Web friends?
Yeah. Work friends.
You go on the internet, you become a funny animal person.
Yeah, that's how I make friends.
Yeah.
You go online, become a funny animal person, and then proceed to fuck everyone.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
That's how you become friends.
You go ooh
Ooh woo,
ooh
ooh woo, bulgy wolgy.
Ooh. Can I see your bulgy
Bulgy,
please?
Please.
Rar.
Nya. Nya.
What's
Nya.
this? Ooh.
Unfortunately, that is how most furries try and communicate on the internet.
That's how we communicate.
It's not how I do it.
No.
Yeah, I just look at it. I'm like, because I'm a moderator in one of my main things. I see that a lot. I'm like, please stop.
It's like,
just stop.
That's funny.
Oh, they added little rotator things on this one.
ooh, yeah, because
The last time we played this, they didn't have those rotators.
Yeah.
It's weird how they have the same map, but like 10 versions of it.
I think that's a clever way of doing it because it means that instead of having to reinvent the wheel, they're just, doing small alterations, and that's usually enough.
Do you think it's based on where it is in the rotation, or it's just random?
I think so. I think it's also random because I'm pretty sure we did this map first once.
Yep.
And it didn't have those like it does now.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Got through. Okay, I'm back. I'm up to where you guys are.
I think the novelty also kind of discourages a little bit of cheating in certain cases. Or
Yeah.
How would you cheat on this?
people can try.
Oh, net coding. Like, just make it so that, the computer does not know how to process either digital input or
No! Fuck off, Rhino!
just actually, DDoS the site.
Yeah.
So,
Make it, yes!
I think I'm the last one to get there.
I was Jackson Wolf's stream once and he made me say ooh to the camera after looking at me like he'd just been shot.
yep.
Well, I didn't make it to the end, but we qualified.
Woo!
Yep. Woo!
Thank you for carrying my ass.
Yep, not to worry. Oh, there's a cool crocodile one in the top.
Yeah. Andre! I was saying to the others we should I should have dupe points where you do shit to annoy me on stream.
Oh, absolutely. I've been saying that since day one.
Just have like a little beeper for them, and then when the redeem goes off, you're not even aware of it. It's just they get a little text message of like,
It's like this. Absolutely, go ahead and do it.
I gotta make it a dupe thing though, that's the thing.
Nah, just well,
Or just anything they put there, you just get to poke me?
yes.
Okay. Fuck it. Yeah, anytime anyone does any dupe thing, even if it's a low price one, Andre will poke me in the face while I'm playing.
If you could do it, you'd have it, or should have it, so you could have like an automated dark or just fire at you.
No one touches my ears but me. No, sorry. Ben Rube's like, points for the wet finger in the ear.
nah.
Nah. Yeah, I have very sensitive ears and I don't like people touching them.
Yeah.
Unless it's my girlfriend.
Yeah, so I was about to say only Cass gets to whisper in your ear.
Whisper in my ear.
Sweet nothings.
Sweet
Only
nothings.
she gets to give me wet willies.
Only she gets to give me wet willies.
Everyone else can fuck off.
Only she can put her tongue in my ear.
Why do they make the human body do some fucked up nonsense like making the ear have erogenous zones, honestly?
What, tongue in your ear? Just, you miss it.
Well, I think it's like more so like a sensitivity thing. Because it's just like,
I miss the sound
there
of something
are
going
things
in my
get
ear.
in your ears, and then like you don't do anything about it, and then it
Poke
could be
him. There's
something
100. He gave me 100 bits for you to poke me. That's even.
Okay,
You can
just a nice long poke
Oh,
with a bit
God,
of
he's-
twisting action, just a little bit of a cheek pinch.
Oh, God. I said you don't have to give me bits. You can. I said the dupe points, not bits, but I will take money. I won't say no to money.
Oh,
Hopefully
that's
that
actual
gets
money.
us-
Oh, this
Yeah, that's money. That's a money one.
Double
Oh God,
poke.
he's double poking now.
I'm so far behind.
No,
You are
I almost
very
made
far
it.
behind. Come on,
We're
come on, you two. Come on.
No,
No,
we're gonna get
We're
kicked.
out, unless
I wasn't looking.
Just watch you drop. No, we're not gonna make it.
No.
No.
It's
Sorry.
okay.
I'm just looking right now.
Yeah, I'm not ticklish. All it is sweat under there, and he's just like toting it there. Yeah, there we
I'd be
go.
able to do one more before I have to call it.
No, fair enough. Fair enough.
Sorry.
Trying to
It's
think of something.
2:30 a.m.
Oh Jesus Christ! You're in the States. I forgot.
I'm
What
also
are
in
you
the
annoying me
States.
Oh, Dazzy, you just play at ridiculously long hours. I don't
Yes.
think too hard about you.
8 p.m. to 7 a.m. Still.
Your sleep schedule's
Oh,
fucked up.
God,
I don't give a
okay.
shit about.
That was the best monies I've ever spent. Fair enough, Ben.
Issue is, I'm still
Well-
jet lagged.
Andre's grabbing more stuff to annoy me with. If people want to send me money, he'll do it at this rate.
All right.
He's gone and grabbed something, and I'm scared because we have 3D printers like by the like 10 to 15 3D printers in the garage, and I don't know what he's grabbing.
What are you
Why
guys
do you
printing?
have so many?
Because we have a lot of 3D printer people, 3D designers in this house. We have 3 of them, and then I resin print
Oh.
sometimes.
Okay.
It's mainly Andres. He 3D prints a lot. Then Rels is 3D printing now. Will sometimes 3D prints, but he made 3D designs.
Yeah.
I resin print sometimes. What is that?
It's just a bit of fluff.
Why? What is it from? It looks really wrong. Just,
What, this?
yeah, it looks really wrong. What is
It's just
that?
a bit of fluff. Like,
Oh, it's just a bit of fur. Okay, like it's just rolled up fur. Okay.
Okay. I just
I
need
thought
to
it was, like,
really
actual,
quickly
like, something
just go
else.
to the bathroom and get a quick drink. I'm sorry to say, so I'm gonna just run a quick
Have a
advertisement on
fun
Take your
this.
time, buddy.
So,
Okay.
yeah. So if you guys need to stretch, grab water, and such like that, I highly implore you to do so as well.
I'm probably gonna get smacked in the face with this thing that
Oh,
Andre's
no.
gonna send. No, what are you gonna do with it? I'm scared now. What are you gonna do with that? It's just standing next to me menacingly.
the psychological torment.
Just- He's just standing there menacingly. Yes. Oh. Fluff to the face. Oh god. That's a dude.
Oh, is it? Oh,
That's a dude one.
It's just
Oh, no, not in the nose. No, not in the nose.
I can't tickle you. That's the only part of your body I can tickle. Just,
Expect me to sneeze on that. I will
okay,
sneeze.
Just a little bit of fabric.
Oh, my jaw. I'm gonna crack my neck.
Because
Yeah.
honestly, me doing this, it's not going to disrupt him too much during the game.
It kind of does.
Me doing this, however, look at that reaction. That
Because I know
reaction.
you're essentially putting it up my nose, and you know I hate that.
Not here. Okay, how's that?
All right.
It's all right.
Glass of water.
Got a mouthful of fur. Again. Oh god, people are just fucking getting Andre to annoy me. You don't have to stand here this whole stream now.
Oh no, such a shame.
Such a shame. They have to
Stop putting
annoy
it
a
in my
streamer.
Bastard. Stop putting it in the mouth.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's how the taste stuff.
No,
I love
fuck
these
off.
mouth noises.
Alright. Dun, dun.
There you go. There's a mouth noise.
Alrighty.
Bitch.
Alright, I'm back. I'm ready. This is gonna be the
Welcome
crown,
back.
guys. I can feel it.
Trumpet, reach.
I reached the trumpet.
We need to get Grant at least one crown.
Wait, is that an actual trumpet?
That's an actual trumpet.
What the hell?
Nice.
Why do you think I've got that as my name?
I thought the trumpet was like
You
a
know what?
past thingy madiggy.
That's valid.
Still good, thank you.
That's
Yeah,
Excuse
wow,
you.
amazing.
Wow.
Yeah,
Incredibly insulting.
that's why my name is Radium, and I have
It's an amazing
tons
thing
of
now. Doesn't mean
radium
that you
stored
won't
in my
get it.
room.
Oh.
You've forgotten more about trumpeting than I will ever know.
I did have the Kirby theme somewhere saved around. Hang on. Yes. I did. There it is. Dreamland trumpet.
Oh, neat.
I can play that while we're waiting for people.
Oh, that's okay. It's just slowly populating. Have you done like? Can you do music streams like where you just play instruments to Twitch?
I haven't yet.
You can. I know. There is a
There you go.
furry of the name Tone Deaf Leopard that plays soprano sax, and
Okay.
he does do music streams,
Where the fuck?
and he's a music major, I believe. So
I'm glad
Nice.
someone understood that it was Stevie Wonder. Oh, here we go. We don't have the spinny things on the side now,
Yeah.
but we have hammers in the middle.
Yep.
No, not more fluff. Actually, that's not too bad on the. No, not in the mouth, bastard. I'm glad someone understands the Stevie Wonder. I'm happy that someone recognized that first one as Stevie Wonder. Can I play the trumpet solo from Laputa Castle in the Sky though? I haven't tried, but I can certainly sight read it if I can find the music for it.
Yeah.
I can't see, Andre. There's a fan there. Okay. He's putting it like half in my face while I'm trying to play.
No, half in the face.
Oh.
Face.
Oh, here comes the rhino.
Camera couldn't see that. I had to do the other half.
I'm actually staying up top for
Why are
once.
there
Oh, no, I
more
fell.
rhinos?
Why are there more rhinos?
Yeah.
It's hard to talk when you're putting that right in my mouth. Come on, there we go.
Oh no.
Bouncy! Bouncy! 27!
23 points. All right, we should be good for
20.
points.
Let me check Laputa. Hang on.
You got this, Radium.
Laputa
oh no, I fell.
Castle in the Sky. Here we go.
Oh, that's a
How does that one go? I need trumpet. I need trumpet with instruments. Brass.
Ghibli's movies.
I need B flat. Let's see if there's one in B flat while I'm doing this. I also gotta make sure I'm not too loud. Because fucking 7:40 at night.
Hey, it's a Saturday. We can be noisy until 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you can
Here
be
it's
noisy
loading.
Until 10 because I need to get bed.
Here you go, sheet music. I don't think there's one for trumpet. Or did it? No, it's gone back to normal sheet music instead of Laputa. I'm also trying to play it. I can go back to Streamlabs for a second. Pazu's fanfare. Okay, I'll look that up instead of the other thing. Oh god.
I'm reading.
It's gone alright. It's gone alright.
So far, so good.
Yep.
No!
No.
Fuck.
Oops, someone's running.
As long as
on
we're
the-
ahead of the pack or the middle of the pack, we're fine. Behind the
Yeah.
pack, we're fucked.
I am behind the pack.
I wish you luck.
I mean, if you guys, as long as you guys get there, that's
Oh
fine.
no! Damn it! I lost my lead.
Oh, hello.
The
Hi. How are you?
the thingy madiggies got like too crazy. So
Nope. Oh, I made it. Remember, you can grab. You can grab.
oh
Grant, you
yeah,
can grab.
I forgot about the grab.
Oh fuck. I was hoping to launch
okay.
myself.
No.
Nope.
That was close.
Third time's the charm. Third time's the
No,
charm.
I'm not doing third time's the charm. Fuck that. The hammer's not gonna work for me that time.
Wait, is the
good.
hammer supposed to help you? How does that help you?
It can push you forward.
if you can
See the
time it.
rotation?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, fuck that.
But that
I
one's-
tried and I didn't quite make it.
That one's difficult to do.
No, we're not gonna make it.
I made it!
All your messages are coming up modded? No, not for me. Only
Try
one of yours was
refreshing-
modded.
You have to refresh
Yeah.
the page and it'll.
Yeah, try refreshing and stuff. Okay, so Pazu's. Hang on.
Usually.
Pazu's fanfare. There it is.
Made it.
Oh, he made it! Wow.
Yeah.
No results for trumpet for
managed-
Pazu's fanfare. Someone hasn't made it on MuseScore yet.
I managed
That
to
sucks.
get 24 points, and I think that helps.
Yeah, I can't play that one.
I feel like anything over like 15 is always a good like contribution. Radium.
Wait, how does this one work?
Touch the floor tiles
Touch
to
the
light
tiles.
them up and
Oh, you gotta
copy
light
the.
them up.
Wait,
You gotta
so
copy the
is
text,
Is it squad based then? Is it like
I think so.
Playroom? Oh shit.
How fast can we do it? Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Oh
So
shit.
we're all okay, okay.
Wait, but can we go to other people's platforms though?
Doesn't add yet. I was gonna say
Oh,
that there's no
we can.
Pazu's fanfare.
No,
in Muse
I don't
Score.
think so.
I think there's
okay.
there's a connector though, maybe.
I'll just
Alrighty.
focus on my
Okay.
9.
Oh.
So.
Oh.
Oh, that's
1, 2,
Can you?
3.
Oh, you can retouch them. Okay, you can retouch. We can touch. Okay.
okay, okay.
Touch that top.
Oops. Nope.
Touch
There
that
we
top
go.
one.
Okay. Here.
It's down the line. Down the line.
There we go.
No.
It's in completely the wrong rotation.
Does it matter the?
I think
don't know.
so, considering.
Try this.
Okay, you know what? Let's assume
is.
that it does.
Oh,
Okay.
hold on.
There,
Hold on.
there. Quickly do those ones.
Oh god,
Oh,
just
God damn it.
There we go. We are bad at this. Do one more. No, one more.
No.
There we go.
There we go.
There we go.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
it's facing us. It's facing us. It's facing this way. Okay.
All right.
So here.
Okay.
It's a little Aries symbol.
Yeah.
There we go.
1, 2, 3,
I hear it.
4. 1, 2. There we go.
There we go.
There we
Oh, we're
go.
good.
We're not doing well at this. Oh god.
Okay, rocket ship, maybe. I don't know.
Oh,
Here, I'm gonna come back and get rid of that.
I'll do this. Up here.
Okay, hold on.
There's
And
one
then
more over
one
here.
more.
There we go. That was
Got
better.
a 5.
All right.
Clock.
Okay,
So
clock.
1,
That's shitty.
Get rid of this.
Nope,
No.
this
Yeah,
one's
we know.
off.
1, 2,
Oh, sorry.
3.
Here, let me get that. With that.
All right.
Here. Now we go to the middle. There.
Yeah.
There.
There we go.
There we
All right.
go.
We just need to do the
One
last
more, one more.
One more.
Oh, straight up the middle
This
here.
is Virgo.
There. We got that. Yep,
And
that one there.
then That one there.
And then one on the down. Oh, there's one more in the middle. One more in the middle.
Okay.
Hoop. And then come back. Yeah, jump.
jump.
Oh,
Wait, we're missing one.
wait.
Oh, down here.
There we go. Yes, we
Oh,
qualified.
I'm
good
so
job.
incredibly shocked that we made that.
It's just
Wait,
because
were we?
orientation was a question in the first
Yeah.
image.
Yeah.
No, it's
Yeah.
facing. It's towards the bottom. Okay.
Yeah.
I use Muse Score, so MUSE Score. That's
Oh, yeah.
where I usually find a lot of music things, and you can like do it to wood, like you do it to different instruments. People post their own. So someone obviously hasn't done Pazu's fanfare yet.
If you like music, you can play instruments in Final Fantasy 14 as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Also
Final
beat-
Fantasy 14.
The critically acclaimed MMORPG,
MMO.
complete with a free trial with no
We'll lock
limit
it,
on game
these
time, up to level 70, including
60.
the 60. Sorry, thank you, Radium.
Oh. Yeah.
Benru, you know that?
Benru's one of Grant's viewers.
Yes.
And I've fallen.
Grant's one I've met at Purdue.
Yo, oh no,
I've
no,
already
no! Oh, I fell
fallen.
as well.
I'm doing pretty well.
We're still alive?
Yeah, we're still alive. We're still going.
Oh.
I'm just running. I don't have to.
Whoa!
to knock myself.
I just saw Dazzy and your. Oh.
Oh god!
Oh,
We're in third. We're already in danger, I think.
Yeah.
fuck. Oh,
Other people need
fuck,
to like
I'm off.
get. Oh no.
No, I'm dead!
Close, but no cigar.
Ah,
Alright.
no.
game.
Any of
Good
us alive
game.
at all? No, no.
So we're just doing as many laps as we could. Is that
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
It was just a
I
survival
don't think it's
thing.
about lapping, is it? Or it's just survive? It's just survive.
It was just
It was
survive.
just survive.
Yeah.
But also, I think
It's
yeah, oh,
easier
yeah.
to do the jumps if you're moving with the speed, I think, is what it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what happens if you just start running
Alright.
backwards and just? Oh no, there's a fan there. There is a fan
Yeah.
behind you. Yeah. So you do
Yeah.
have to just keep running.
All right.
Yeah, the fan
I'm
is
gonna-
speeding up a little bit.
I'm gonna have to call it for myself here.
Nah, fair
So-
enough. It's like
A
middle of the
morning
night
on
for you.
of the Slag Ravine.
True.
Let me try that.
Yeah.
Alright.
Thanks for
then.
joining us, though.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
thanks
And
for
I
coming
have
on.
a
Pleasure to
lot
meet
of
you.
To worry, Radium. Just for the people that are viewing and such like that. Here's another shout out. Hopefully it works. There we go.
Aw.
When do you
Oh,
think
that's
people can
sweet.
find /see you again?
Good question.
I can still
Don't
play
look
it.
at me like that. My schedule's sporadic. I'm
does the money
currently
go?
For those who don't know,
gonna
I'm a
say,
medical
you
student and I'm currently studying for the board exam. And
Nice.
so
Yeah.
hopefully I'll have some more
My phone doesn't go for it. Oh, it's
streams
1:13,
soon.
so-
But for now, yeah. You can find me at Twitch as Radium Desu.
Yep.
Thank you for the shout out. I'm also on YouTube as Radium Desu. I sing song covers as well.
Nice.
And yeah, and I'm on Twitter and where I shitpost. So there's always that, and that's everything. Yeah.
Alrighty then. Well,
Awesome.
thank you for coming along, Radium, and for keeping me company along with Trump and Collins and Dazaris. Hope you have a good
Boy.
morning, and yeah,
Thank you.
I'll let you
right.
know on. I do these like party stream things like first Saturday of the month. So if there's any advice on like a game to try out or something, I know Dazzy has recommended to me Goose Goose Duck, which might be something in the
Yes.
future.
Oh.
So gonna give that a try. If I
There's
find enough
actually-
people or enough victims, force them to play League of Legends custom map.
God.
Just everyone is just like just find 9 other peeps and be like, right, it's a custom 5v5. We're not playing with anyone else.
Your Honor, League of Legends. Death.
There's actually a free game this week on the Epic Games Store that's really good for multiplayer.
Ooh, okay.
Let's see if I
And
can.
there's friends.
let's
But yeah,
play this.
It's
You have
like
a good
a.
sleep.
Good night.
Good night.
And while you go, I'll play A Morning of the Slag Ravine.
Ooh, okay.
I'm trying to start with this.
Then there were 3.
That's all I can do at the moment because then it splits into 2 parts and it's mainly for flute.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to transpose that.
Alrighty then. All right. Gonna do a quick ask in the chat to see if anyone would like to join in to fill in the 4th slot. Just real quick. But yeah.
I could see if.
Give me a.
no,
Play
he's
something
put
I can
more.
play
Never mind.
Megalovania. I can do Megalovania better than that.
Wait, is that the
Yeah.
Yes.
I can do that one actually really well for trumpet.
Pretty good.
I've played it at least a few times.
All right.
Where is it? Trumpet
So-
in B flat. There it is. There it is.
so- Dun dun dun. Awesome.
Nah.
Alrighty then. Let's go with one more. Let's go with another game in squads with just the 3 of us, and we'll see how we go.
All right.
Yeah. We'll get filled in
By
with a
the
random
Grant-
or something. What?
How far are you in Final Fantasy so far?
All right. So I think I have like 15 more missions to go in the main Stormblood quest line before I get to the patch content. So
Trying to
I've only
think.
been doing the content. I've only been doing like the main quest line like once a week, and there's been
Right.
like a few Saturdays, like this one included or the Furdu, where it's like there's been no progress made. So, but because I'm thinking of streaming like every night, or that every time I'm available to on June this month, I might make like another day within the week a Final Fantasy day just to try and get through some of the main questline missions a little bit more. Plus, it helps like pad out the stream days that I have because I can't do 8-hour streams like unless it's the weekend and I just
Right.
get really invested in a game. I can't do that on like the daily.
Lilith's back. Yay, Lilith.
So are you at the Gimel dark place with the Garlemald?
No,
It's a
I
dungeon.
No, I don't believe so. We've just dealt with the.
Oh, that's next.
We dealt with the snake with the snake god with the titties.
Ah, this. Wait, hold on. Oh, you're still okay. No, you're about to. Okay.
Yeah, like
I
I
thought you were
said.
at the end of Stormblood. I thought you meant like. So you're at the end of the initial Stormblood. Got it.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
Yeah, just the initial stuff.
I want a milkshake now, Lilith. Can you send one my way?
The cities.
I want a milkshake. Oh, there was a gap at the end there. Holy
Yes. It took
Oh,
me
yeah.
2 goes to realize that.
I managed to miss out in the first go. Wow.
We lucked out.
You got 2. Do you have a vanilla one? I like vanilla.
No, I know you don't like vanilla. Jimmy. I
Cookie
know
for
that's
Sky. There we go.
Ah,
That's
Sky.
very spicy in the bedroom.
spicy. Nothing vanilla about this guy except the color of his skin.
And the ice cream I eat.
Holy
With
shit!
lots,
what
with
is
lots of
that
Milo.
thing?
It's not vanilla ice cream anymore, is it? The Milo
It's
ice.
vanilla ice cream with Milo just dusted over the top. Makes it crunchy.
Wait, Milo's a
Crunchy ice
powder.
cream.
What do you mean crunchy?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Ice.
Well, you add the powder on top of the ice cream and it gives it a slight crunch to it. Make it a bit
What is
chocolatey.
Milo?
Milo is like a chocolate powder that you add to drinks to make it like a chocolate milkshake.
Think of
Okay,
Nesquik.
so it's malt.
It's
Just
Nes-
American.
Yeah, it's like Nesquik.
It's a malt, yeah.
Okay.
But better.
No,
It's better than
that's,
Nesquik.
That's Australian propaganda.
Chocolate. It's better. It's better than the chocolate one. I would say that it is better than the chocolate one.
You don't have a
You can
lot
fight
of
me for that.
evidence.
I don't give a shit.
Nah, it's not a fight worth like fighting for. It's like
Clearly
trying to
you are
argue
random
about
American
Vegemite.
who doesn't know about Milo. I'm on your side. I'm not the biggest fan of Milo.
Oh, fuck you.
Yeah.
You and Cass are against me on this. My own girlfriend
guy
doesn't like
keeps,
Milo
like-
either.
There we go.
I think I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Almost
No one's
there.
crossed the finish. One person has crossed the finish line. So now,
What's
I'm
that
about to cross it
bullshit?
right now.
if we can
I
get into
did
top
fall through that.
3, we should be okay.
I got 20.
I call fucking bullshit
14.
with that fall.
Didn't get as far as I liked.
I think we still get the win now. Oh no, we don't.
No, we don't. All of us have crossed through at or
No,
Two of
no,
us-
almost did.
no, there was 2
Yeah.
left. We couldn't get through, unfortunately.
No. So are we doing Stiggles then, or what's happening here?
Alrighty. Exit. Ah, damn it. Once they get to like this point here, it's like you can't do the exit annoyingly enough. Oh, wait.
Yeah, that's really annoying.
Yep. Oh, we can do it at the exit. There we go.
I'm
Show
you have
summary.
seen your butt.
Alrighty then.
I
Hey,
don't know what
Sky!
it is, and I'll never
Sky!
know.
Sky! You
Sky,
wanna play?
Sky. You wanna play, boy? You wanna play?
Sky's a
Right,
cat.
it's like somebody peddling fucking drugs. Hey, you want some?
Nah,
You
nah,
want
nah,
some
nah.
fucking Sky?
You want some?
Look,
you want some
wait,
Milo?
I need to get you the Venn diagram of talking to a baby and talking to a dog. Hold on a sec. Venn diagram, talking to a baby, dog, fight. Hang on a second.
You're talking to my friend. Which friend? Are you talking to Grant? Are you talking to Andre? Are you talking to Lilith? I don't know.
No,
who
no,
you're
no,
talking to.
no. So there's this Venn diagram.
I'm
Which
not you,
is-
Grant. I'm talking to Lilith in my chat.
Oh, okay.
I know what you're talking about. I've seen the Venn diagram.
It's starting a fight, petting a dog, consoling a child, and in the direct center is, "Hey, buddy."
Yeah. Hey, buddy.
What?
Yeah.
Let me
Yeah.
get.
You're talking to Andre. Yeah.
Yep, hang on. Where's memes? There we go. There's memes. Nope, that's my call to action. Copy image, paste. All right, check out the memes channel. So once you
Yeah,
see
hang on.
this like meme, Dazzy, you will understand. Also, I'll clue you in chat on this Venn diagram as well. So then
Andre's seen at least my naked butt. I know that.
what?
Yeah. Andre's had the unfortunate incident of seeing my butt a few times. And he's coming in now to comment on it.
There we go,
Okay,
chat.
so the
Right,
funny story
yeah, I have
is
to ask you.
Walking out of the toilet to get to have the shower, it's like this. Then 2-meter walking space. And
Probably even just like a meter walking space. Yeah.
And I was sitting on a little sofa that we had at the time, in the perfect spot
Where he could just see me through this slit.
20 centimeters over either side, or if I had my head popped to the side, I wouldn't have seen anything. But I got a full view.
And then you managed to see me through the glass door, the reflection. Saw my ass through that.
Yes. I was in the kitchen. I was looking outside, and the reflection off the door
was my ass. Was my bare ass.
His bedroom.
Alrighty. Right click.
To be fair, we've been friends like 16, 17 years at this point, and this is the only time I've seen you naked.
Pretty much.
I think that's quite a feat.
That's quite a feat.
Especially because we've been living together for 2 of those years.
Yeah. Mooned by a wolf. I'm sure that's not something everyone can boast about. There you go. And Shelby's like, what?
Also, Grant, check out the art channel.
What do I do?
Oh,
so you've heard the story of how Andre
kobolds?
saw me naked like twice.
Yes.
Both front and back.
Check out your art channel.
Aw. He's a little cute guy. He's a little cute boy.
If you want more stories like this, just wait till Cascade.
I need to find. I swear I've seen it on Twitter, but it was like there was a scale for kobolds.
Oh, that's adorable, noob.
Like it. Hang on.
That's so
I'll need to
cute.
scroll through like my likes, but it was basically like someone did like a scale of like what kobold are you, and it like has like real dragon looking energies, and then just like little just a silly little guy.
I don't know what you're talking about. There's a silly little guy, way too fucking thick to walk, and then just absolute dragon energy, I think.
Let me find it again. It's in my
There's
likes.
actually a Venn diagram I'm thinking of.
No, it's a scale for me, or spectrum, I should say. I just need to scroll through my my Twitter likes, which is filled with all kinds of furry shit, and then Magic the Gathering memes, because we're about to get the Lord of the Rings stuff, and there's like someone thought it would be a good idea to sell the One Ring, like a collectible only card. It has no effects or anything like that. It's just the One Ring. Hi, Sir Dragon.
But why?
Because it's the One Ring.
No, but if it's the One Ring, why does it just do nothing? That makes me so much sadder.
Well, to be fair, in the Lord of the Rings, like canonically speaking, that's the power of the One Ring as well. It does nothing. We just have an interest in it. Where is this image? Okay, I'm seeing a lot of boobs. I need to get past the boobs.
There's all my points. Okay, let's see.
Where are you? Ooh.
All right, Grant, we're gonna do squats. Submitting 20 squats.
Not right now.
Trumpet
I have to do
Collins
55 more,
underscore
right?
Gaming
Why do you have
thinks
to do
should
55
20
more?
squats.
To finish the push-up challenge for today.
I believe in you, lads.
Did it do the squats?
It did. Yeah, it did the squat.
Okay, you have to squat 60 times this room. Yeah. All right, come on, let's do squats. I'll do 55.
Not yet. Not yet. I'm still scrolling. Okay.
Okay. I'll wait till you're ready, and then I'll do squats.
I know it's here. I know I've liked this scale image. It's a funny meme. Just let me find it, okay? Uh-oh, internet's lagging. Where are you?
So for my stream, if you want to go check out Grant, so you can just look GrantZeebs on Twitch. He's a pretty cool guy.
Thank you.
Go follow him.
I watch him. Pretty cool.
He puts a lot of hard work into his channel.
Found it.
He does put a lot of hard work. He puts a lot more hard work than I do.
I have found the image. It is. What is your favorite kobold head shape?
Oh yes, I did that one. Yes.
All right, now I can do my 20 squats. Now I can do the
20 squats. Right? Okay, I'm gonna do
Desi,
55.
You're gonna join
us
for 20
my
squats?
legs. Fuck.
What's up?
My fucking legs already.
I just stood up. No, have fun.
Okay. This is why you gotta pace yourself, Trumpet. You gotta pace yourself.
Get these glutes. Okay.
All right, you ready for this? All right.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is gonna hurt. It's already hurting. 12.
1, 2,
14,
3, 4,
17,
5,
19,
6,
20,
7,
22,
8,
24,
9,
25, 26,
10. I had to take my headphones off. 11,
9, 30,
12,
22,
13,
34.
14.
I'm choking myself from my own cord.
15.
This is why you're here, to hear these men moaning and panting. This is why you're here.
Wait, hold on.
Burns.
Whoa, stop. Hang on.
What?
World-renowned teabagger. Yep.
No, that is not a squat.
24,
Trumpet.
25,
No,
26,
hang on. That is.
27,
Hang on.
8, 9.
I just saw your. That is. Hang on.
2, 3, 4, 55.
Oh, you're gonna be in trouble. Hang on, I need to keep going. Where was I when my?
Oh, shush. At least I'm
12,
feeling the burn.
13, 14.
I've often heard him make that noise at the very end coming from his.
Oh,
bedroom.
shut up.
17, 18, 19, 20.
I know I need to get my back straight. I can't be bothered doing technique properly at the moment with my back straight.
You need to do proper technique.
I squat. No, okay. The way we squat is not how normal people squat with my martial arts. We squat like arms crossed. We get elbows to knees. That's how we've always squatted, and that's how I've done it over the years.
Oh, you.
No one's actually ever. Not like we don't have anyone that's like gym or anything like that, like professional there.
I was always told that you squat with your legs up at the same height and you want to try and keep everything.
So yeah, we never did that.
I am.
So ours was always arms crossed, feet shoulder length apart, and we just elbows to knees and back up.
Yeah.
Because a lot of our students, they never go low enough. So our goal was to get elbows to knees. And yeah. Anyway. Whatever.
Alrighty then. What did Kitsune say? Hang on. Hey, Zeebs, I thought you were going to be
I think it's probably just towards the
Diablo
end there. I
4.
was probably bending my back a lot. I was probably better
You were
earlier.
bending your back a lot.
Was it? Yeah. Well, to be fair, I've done so much fitness today. Fucked.
Fine. Just.
That's technically 175 squats I've done today.
I'm gonna
I commend you
divide that
both.
by 2 because of that technique you've been showing near the end. That's like, goodness gracious. All right. But yeah,
I'm
to answer your
tired.
question,
It's been
Kitsune, of why you thought I might have been playing Diablo 4, I would like to play Diablo 4, but I didn't want to spend, $90 plus an extra 20 to get like the week ahead access. I need to be careful with my monies. I've already wasted it on like dumb nonsense such as food, a new Leap motion that's going to be coming out in July, and
Is it any better?
The Leap motion?
Yeah, there's a new one.
Yeah, it goes, instead of having 120 degrees of like a field of view, it's now 160 or maybe even 170. So it's almost like the field of view is a lot wider with the new one. It's smaller. It connects via USB-C as well. And it detects a range of, up to 100 meters from the sensor. Rather than just 60.
Fuck.
I'm going to be getting Diablo 4 with my girlfriend, and we're going to play it together.
Aw, that's sweet. You get to have a buddy.
I'm doing the same tomorrow with my partner as well. But
I'll figure out
when's
somewhere.
coming out, Grant?
Diablo 4?
No, the new Leap motion.
The Leap motion is open for pre-order, and I purchased mine through Robot Shop, and I believe like the back order is let me just double check when the back order said it was. Expected delivery is July 20th for me, so it's like not for another month. Is there a shout out for your friends? Oh, you mean these two boys down here? Yeah.
I'm too sleepy for a shout out. Give it a trumpet. He deserves it.
What?
Oh, I spelled your name wrong as well.
See, it's faded. It's faded.
Oh.
So, hang on. Trumpet Collins.
I was just half paying attention. What were we saying?
Oh, I was just giving shout out because
Something
of Kitsune. And then...
Okay. Also, someone asked if they can come and join. Or are we waiting on someone else at the moment?
They can join.
Thank you for the shout out, Grant.
Give me a second. Is there a way to send the... Or do they have to be my friend in order to do it? Hang on.
Yeah, because I'm not in charge of the of the squad. Is
Yeah, they have
more
to add
Greek.
you.
Okay, hang on.
Yeah,
Custom shows.
you have to go to GrantZeebs and add
So
them.
we can create a custom lobby, but then I think it's only limited to us,
Yes.
which I don't know how many people are in my chat that are like, yes, rearing to go right now.
I think I've won at least one or two myself personally.
You got one or two on
I
your
think-
side?
I'm not live today.
I'll just have to see if is Moe Geek wants to come play. Is Moe Geek? Are you still there? Check if they're still here watching.
Sky,
That's the
you awake?
question. I don't think they're still here. No,
Okay.
it doesn't look like they're still in my
No.
chat.
All right.
Boo.
Let's just get into another game.
This sounds good.
Oh, there we go. Ready squads. There we go. We got a bid.
So,
Hydrate. Thank you.
oh,
So, Grant,
I'm
will you be
ready.
playing D4 then in a couple days as well?
I don't think so. To be honest, like I don't want to be like sort of chasing titles too much. And what's more is like a part of me kind of wants to not go into Diablo 4 just because Blizzard is still doing a lot of, you know, questionable business shit, like what they've just recently done with Overwatch 2, and now they're trying to sweep it under the rug with their comic industry and trying to, you know, play into, you know, Pride Month to, you know, get people to be on their side rather than, you know, remembering, hey, we've just, you know, tugged you along for 4 years that we were going to tell you to get we were getting PvE content, but too bad we can't give it to you guys. And you have developers inside Blizzard that are like, nah, this feels like a 100% business decision. Developers weren't complaining to do this. Excuse me.
Discord. Ooh, my.
I mean, there's even more though, Grant, if you've been watching the rest of the stuff. There was the Diablo 4 Q&A where they wrote their own questions. Let's see here.
Writing their own questions for the Q&A is not that problematic, especially remember the last time they did a Q&A? Like,
yes.
They
added the WoW token to the WoW Classic, which is a big no.
Did they seriously do that?
Yes. The one thing they said they would never do.
I started playing WoW Classic when it first came out, but I sort of didn't stop up. I sort of stopped after a while because I was playing a healer and it was really hard to sort of play with not many people wanting to play with me and stuff. Oh, fuck. Gotta get
I
back.
played the lottery class, which was what the fuck was it called? Whatever the spell you got from Sham that made it so whenever you attacked with your weapon, it did like 4 hits at random proc.
Yeah.
Wind Shear. Wind Fury? Maybe Wind Fury.
Not doing well on this level. The bounce pads are fucking me up.
I think I'm first.
Oh, you
I'm
might
first.
be first. Yeah.
First.
Oh my god, there's still more.
I'm not first, I'm fourth. Actually, I'm wrong.
No!
Oh,
one's fucking me
no. I was so close, but I
Grant,
didn't make it.
You saw that.
Oh,
Can go Safeway.
no.
No!
I think we're going to get eliminated shortly.
Just go save, go save.
I made it.
No.
We're third, we're fourth.
We're first.
25
Oh, we're
points.
fourth, sorry.
We're fine. I think we're fine.
Skeletor, I mean, like Hobbles Overwatch thing since they created an overtly gay character that plays into all the worst stereotypes of that game in. Oof. So I don't play Overwatch. I did for a bit, but I got a lot of toxic hate because I played only Bastion all the time.
You see,
Bastion
I
is
play
fun.
Torbjorn on everything.
He is fun, but everyone
It's
hated me.
defensive.
Yeah.
Torbjorn.
I think the problem
Well,
is,
it's like,
when
this
you
is
make
toxic.
games like Overwatch and League of Legends is you need to have a good transition period between playing casually and playing competitively.
Yeah.
Because if
agree.
your
That
only
was my main
difference
issue
is,
with the-
oh, it's a player opted playlist, you're going to have a bad time. Because you're going to have people that are going into ranked because it's like, hey, I want players that will actually, you know, play fairly and such. But then you'll also have people going into casually being like, look, I want to play something that isn't going to be affecting my competitive rank or something like that, but I'm still going to want people playing competitively. It's like, no, that's not the point of casual. So
No. No, I agree. That was my biggest issue with the original Overwatch was, as a fan of TF2, I went into Overwatch, and I still had fun with it. But I hated how if you were just not trying your hardest, then you would just get shit on all the time. It was just really annoying.
Yeah. And it doesn't help that multiplayer games are still, like, statted the same way across all of them, and that, which is like single player games, which is, oh, how many kills do you do? How much healing do you do? How much damage do you block? It's never things like, oh, how many assists how many assists did you do? Or were you able, like, there was no like positional data or anything. There's no like worthwhile stat sharing that's actually team orientated like you would have for soccer or anything like that. It's all...
I mean, there was in the original Overwatch, but they got rid of it in 2 for some reason.
So...
Remember at the end of the game, it'd be like, hey, you did this, this, or this.
Yeah, but a lot of those are still, you know, did you do the most heals? Did you do the most damage? Did you do the most kills?
Yeah.
Which are very independent based.
There was one for assists and one for, like, on the point the most, or push the point the most.
I reckon push the point is probably a good one. They should have made that, like, a lot more strong.
There was a couple.
Yeah. But, you know, anytime you ask for, you know, say academic papers to research into video games, they're like, yeah, we'll get back to you in 4 years when we peer review this correctly. And they're like, no, we need you to fix our economy in 4 months. And they're like, no, nice try. Not happening.
I still miss Overwatch 1 on Volskaya Industries when you put Torbjorn's turret on the moving platform above.
Oh,
and
then they
core.
Characters based around certain fetishes.
Yes.
Oh.
That's right. And I also find they just made too many characters. Like, it was good when it was like simple. Now there's like when there was like 20 characters, and then there's like 40 now or something. I don't know. There's so I don't know.
Not fair. I think the problem is that
dive through.
Because you can like swap between the characters in the middle of matches, like there is a mechanic to the whole, oh, you know, counter picking or what have you. But if you couldn't change your characters in the middle, then yeah, come up with like your 40 or so different characters and such, because you know people will pick their favorite, they'll commit, and you just need to make one that's like, you know, a relatively good kit on a good day and a bad day.
Yeah,
but
I'm having trouble jumping through loops.
Yeah,
I've got 3 at least out of our 3.
I got 2 in a row.
Nice, very nice. There's a gold.
Oh, where's...
We both try to get through that one. Oh, fuck.
Damn it. I'm not doing too good.
It was just like, bonk.
Oh. Yeah, I'm not doing good.
I got it!
Good.
He flipped me through. Thank you, mate.
I'm terrible.
Can you grab the rings?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Nope. I think I smacked his head. Mine! Haha! Stolen. Mine. Oh, you fuck. Oh, Grant. Oh, I got it.
You got it. Okay, that's good. That worked.
There's another one. Does that flip through? Yeah, Lilith, when she plays Destiny, she plays off-meta weapons and still fucks a lot of people over.
Yeah, but, you know...
Lilith is like, I got it.
Yeah, I remember Savage talking... Savage Wolf is like another streamer and such. They got really into Destiny, but they're kind of soured by the whole experience in the, you know, the competitive and PvP stuff. But with Destiny, I feel like they've done a relatively good job in making the PvE fun. And then from what I've heard, it's like after Witch Queen, they were like, they kind of dropped the ball here and there, but I'm still going through their content prior to Witch Queen, so I can't speak, you know, with authority on... Oh, damn it.
Well, we need 8 more hoops before we lose.
Oh, there's one right behind me. Oh, get in. Got it. Haha.
Oh,
There's one over here. Got it. Got that one.
Got one. 4 more. One more spot
There's one over
left.
here. There's one over here. There's one over here.
Just need
Grant,
4.
there's one above your head.
Yep, I see it.
Got one over by me.
Ah,
Oh, how did you?
it's because of the.
2 more.
Ow.
Oh, come on, mate. Oh, I almost made it as well. No, he's got it. No, he didn't.
One more. One more. Oh,
We qualified.
We got first place. We got first
We
place.
did not get first place.
We did not get
said
first
first
place.
place,
It said first place on mine as well,
first
but I'm a
place.
bit confused why it would.
It said first place on mine, but the upper left it said 3 and 4 qualified, so it's not possible.
Oh, okay.
It makes no sense.
PvP is a lost cause ever since the Immortal was dropped, apparently, according to Lewis.
Ah, okay. But yeah, from what I've heard about Destiny 2, it's like the fact of the matter is it's been around for 10 plus years. Like PvP obviously got dropped because that wasn't why people were getting into Destiny. It's like that's not
It's
the
the
reason
everything
why.
gun.
Yeah, they got into it for all kinds of reasons. The look of their guardians, the voice acting, the story, the lore. Like it was everything
tried to get
outside of
into
PvP.
Lewis.
Yeah. So
The problem is, like, I'm a very story-based guy, so anything that doesn't have story is kind of fucked for me.
yeah.
Because obviously they vault everything.
Yep.
So I was just like, I don't know who is who, what is what, where is where.
Yeah.
That was my problem.
That's why I didn't get into it for a while, even after they made it free to play. But by the time they made it free to play, it's like, oh, there's already like all of Destiny 1 vaulted, and Forsaken came in, and it was like, I have no interest in this Cade 6. And then finally I went and started playing, and by the time it's like, oh, Lightfall's dropped, and then now there's rumors of like Cade 6 is back, and I'm like, damn it! I just went through like enough of the thing to accept that Cade was most likely dead. And now you're telling me he's alive?
I'm dead. I'm out.
It's just top 2 for us, I think. I'm alive still.
Yep.
And then there's the opposite happening with whatchamacallit, Sea of Thieves, where they literally had the entirety of PvP mode removed, and yet they still make a PvE mode for the normal game.
I think PvP is still there now.
There's still PvP, but they got rid of the arena season because nobody was doing it. They literally had less than 1% of their audience doing the arena mode, which is the mainstay PvP mode. Meanwhile, they won't make a PvE mode, so.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's an everything gun in PvP in Destiny now, and apparently, if you just face one, you die half a second after spotting it. It's that bad.
Yeah.
Just watching Grant fight to the death.
Yeah, I'm on your screen, watching you.
You're watching. Yeah, no. You guys have it over there. I'm gonna just sit here.
But be careful when oh, there's someone on your behind you. Yeah, coming. He's like, uh oh. No, you can't come over here. Fuck off. Fuck off. Hot dog.
Almost got him too.
Yeah.
Well, what's he doing?
I mean, oh, he's dead. You gotta get to high ground. The timer's starting. Get to higher ground.
Yep.
I'm gonna just throw us at Grant's party. Grant, good luck.
Oh, you did good there.
That was a
Dude,
good
the
push.
water's rising. The water's rising. Get up there. Get up there.
Yep.
Good luck,
Get up
guys.
there. Get up there. Get up there. Get up there.
It's 2
Don't
seconds.
be
It's
down.
fine. It's fine.
Okay.
I
Just
survived.
check it. I didn't know how far it was gonna go.
Besides, I think the other 2 teams just died already.
Still have your PvP exclusive shaders. Oh, that was cool. I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh, they got 4. We have 3.
Oh.
Well.
All right. Depends what the final thingamajiggy. Ah, it's this one. It's always this jump showdown.
The one I
guess.
almost won.
Yeah. This one I will try to
this.
do better with.
If it's 2v1, what we could do is have somebody just hold the other one down.
Yes.
Could be.
Sacrifice.
Just yes.
But yeah, is there a fan on this one? I don't see it.
No.
No, it's just.
It's just jumping. Oh, you fuck! Get off! They're grabbing me. The cheeky fucks. Yeah, no, they're trying to sacrifice. Oh, one's been caught. The cheeky fucks are trying to grab us.
Hey, get off my friend.
Oi, fuck off.
God, they are really going hard, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
I'm dealing with the 2v1 nonsense.
Yep.
And now we were witness to the sweat lord behavior in Fall Guys.
Oh no!
It's god, this is.
Oh no! Oh,
a few of them went off.
I went off as well.
One of them went off, but you.
One of them went off, but.
Oh, they grabbed each other.
Oh, are you guys doing
all right?
Yeah.
Oh god.
Oh no! It's just you and the two of them. Oh,
come on.
They're holding you.
Oh. Just wriggle around and mash. Wriggle around. I just did that. Wriggle around and mash, and they just let go eventually. It's so scummy. It's so scummy.
Oh no!
Wait, no!
Oh, you might have won!
Yes! By a second. By a second. They fell before I did. By a second. By a second. Their own greed and hubris killed them.
I mean, they're trying to grab us and just hold us down because there was 4v3.
Yep.
And both of them got knocked off, and he managed to survive just a little bit longer. Oh, fuck yeah!
Yes.
We got you a crown.
Woo! We won. Can we report them for being scummy?
Nah, that's not being scummy. Let's be real. I was trying to hold them as well. I was just like, get over here. Hell yeah.
Get over here.
Ah, yes, the joys of the Sweat Lord and Fall Guys.
We got ourselves a crown.
I got one crown, yay!
That's my second crown, nice. Or fourth crown even, oh shit.
Ooh, nice work.
Ooh.
Apparently I'm actually somebody decent at this game.
Alrighty then. Hi there, Fizz. Welcome to the stream. Alright, is there anyone in my chat that would like to join us? We have one spot open. If you're not already friends with me on Epic Games, you will be able to find me with just GrantZeebs.
Same thing with my chat. If you want to come join me, you want to try and steal the spot, GrantZeebs.
Yep. If we have like more than, I don't know, a dozen people wanting to join in, then we'll make it like a public match.
Not public, like a host. We'll host one.
Yep.
Agent Scum, yeah.
Need a fourth?
It's free. Fall Guys is free, so you can easily get it off the Epic Games launcher. I literally downloaded it the other day and installed it because Grant told me to.
Yep. Sky, you've got it installed. You ready to go?
Yeah.
Just need to...
I'm just saying, if you wanted to play, you can. If you don't want to play it, that's fine. You can watch.
Let's see. Do I have Sky as a... No, I don't have Sky. Oh, here it is. Yep, Sky the King. There we go. And then I can send an invite this way. Alrighty, Sky's got the fourth slot. Alright, hopefully they get in. No big issue.
The big muscle zebra was too intimidating, so I had to say yes.
Alright. Ooh. I should go with
ooh, my girlfriend has finished work.
Aww.
Well, she actually finished technically 24 minutes ago, but...
They're just making their way home now.
What are you doing right now?
I'm just like looking...
I don't know what you're doing right now, Lilith. What are you doing right now? Are you doing Destiny or are you doing Borderlands?
Invite. Try again. Hey Grant, I can't find one of your friends on my list, Twitch streamer. Oh, weird.
Who?
Something Kitsune just said in chat. I was just... Hang on, what was it?
So kill everyone in Destiny. Got it, Lilith.
Awesome.
So
it's just updating. Gotta pass.
I know.
Yay.
I wonder if... Is Cass watching? Cass, are you watching? Cass is not watching yet. How dare my girlfriend not check?
Okay, so 51 crowns are required to get the crocodile. 77, 112, 160. Bean pot. Some of these look cool.
It's weird how after like level 30, that's just all crown shards, I feel like.
Is it?
More or less.
If Cass was a noodle, then Trumpet would be hitting his students with her.
Silly. You're following Trumpet, but not the other guy? Oh! It's, Dazarus.
Oh, is that Benru?
There we go, this guy.
You have to shut me out, Grant, but hi.
Wait, who's following me? Wait, what?
Kitsune2552. Are they in your chat? Apparently. Are they not? Are you not giving a wave to some of the viewers?
I don't see them in my chat. I'm looking at my viewer list. I don't see them.
Sorry, not viewers. Are you not giving a wave to some of the streamers I'm hanging out with? Look at these guys.
Oh, there we go. Oh, it just turned up. My Kitsune followed. What the fuck? That didn't even turn up for me.
Weird.
Why? What? Okay. My thing didn't do it. There you go. Thank you for the follow, Kitsune. Or maybe it happened. I was in the middle of a game and I just didn't hear it because we were all screaming and yelling.
A pleasure to meet you, Kitsune. Is all mine. Name's
Yes.
Dazzy. Put her there.
I apologize if I ignored you, Kitsune.
Alrighty.
I feel bad now. I was like, oh. I've been ignoring people apparently. Ooh, what's that? Ooh, jump.
Alright, let's see. Are they in?
Jumanji!
Yeah, no, this is a mix.
Sky, you good? Let's see how Sky's doing. You got one game in you and then bed? That's okay. It's 8:30 right now for me, so depending on how I feel with a few games, we'll see how we go. So, because it can either be a very fast game or it's going to be, we're going to get through lots of rounds.
I don't know how to make creme brulee. Can you help me make creme brulee?
No.
Andre makes the best creme brulees.
Ooh.
Hands down.
What's a creme brulee? I keep hearing about it.
What's a creme brulee?
It's a cream-based dish.
It's like...
It's French.
Yeah, here we go.
It's cream, milk, and eggs.
That's pretty much it. It's a very sweet... It's a very sweet dish. You add sugar on top and you like torch it, so you can get like a nice crack of like, yeah.
Though if done wrong, you can get very, very sick.
Although I did something last time Andre made one, is I forgot to put the sugar on top and I started torching the creme brulee itself. So I torched the cream rather than the sugar. It just burned everything.
Alrighty, let's get ready.
Ready. Damn ads. Misdirection. GF is Trump's ruler. Please don't call me Trump, please. I don't like being called Trump. I have a particular thing with people calling me Trump because I play a game called Shell Shock Live, and the amount of times I've been kicked from games when Trump was in office, I actually went off the game for like 3 years.
Yeah. It's a shame that that's what's happened.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
I'm gonna need to be honest with you. You probably need to change your name to something shorter.
I'm not changing my name. I'm not changing my name to something shorter. I like my name. People just need to get over the whole Trump thing.
Yeah, well, fair.
They probably never will.
I know, but like I mean, these days I'm not getting.
When you first popped it in my chat, I was just like, I was just like, Trump. I was like, Trump pet. I was like, for some reason, Trumpet just did not enter my vocabulary when trying to read your name, and I was just like, damn it, I'm an idiot.
I'm not changing because it's just what I'm known as all the time with everyone. If I start changing it to something else, it'd be very confusing, even for me.
Yeah,
makes sense.
So,
yeah, I'm far too white to be Trump. I need to be more orange. Yeah. I need to be more citric.
Just start scraping in orange peels over your face or something.
Oh man, it reminds me. I was watching a video of cooking with Jack, or something like that, and it was a guy who's absolutely disgusting with his cooking. He can't cook for shit. His meat is literally pink, and he's eating it. But his wife was like a female version of Trump. She was so orange.
Oh my goodness,
that's terrifying.
She had black hair, but she was very orange. I'll get the link. I've got the link, Grant, and I'll send it to you. His cooking is so all his meat is just pink. Like it's
yes,
so
I got in the gold.
I didn't get in the gold. I think you kicked me out of the gold.
Oh, I'm sorry.
How far does the gold take you, by the way?
I think
a little bit further.
A little bit further because it puts you on the top half rather than the bottom half.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Oh, there's Kitsune. I know what you mean, Trumpet. There's still people playing, putting Trump in their tag on Modern Warfare 2. Jeez. I'm getting fucked up by this turret.
It's
a female version
a
of Trump.
cringe.
She must be hot. No, she was not nice. In the video she was in, they're making Lazy Man's enchiladas, and it was literally just nachos all soggied up.
Oh.
Yeah, it wasn't nice to see. And I was
I've had to learn.
These are not enchiladas.
Yeah, I remember like near the start of my first stream, or like near the beginning, I would say like burritos and enchiladas were the same thing, and I had like a few people in my chat just being like, no, and just berating me.
They were making like it was like literally just very wet nachos, and they baked it, and it was just disgusting.
Yeah,
I'll get the video. Yeah, it looked gross, and they were using like processed cheese and all that to make it. It's just like it looked horrifying. They're like, yummy, and I'm just like, the meat was like almost half raw, and they were eating it. And I was like,
gross.
Well,
that's it.
Yep.
You lagged out, Scott. Oh, do you need to get invited again or something? No.
Yeah. Apologize, Kitsune, for
flags.
not talking earlier.
Yeah.
Blue Foxy Nicey Icy paid me to say I'm
Thank you for the follow.
psychosexologist Chantel Otten, and for the first time ever, I'm bringing you into my private sex therapy sessions. Have you lost your sexual spark? Talk to me about pleasure. How do you feel about your sexual identity?
For those who haven't been here, if you use my channel points, my dupes, Andre will literally annoy me for free for every single one you do.
Lol. Hi there. Speaking of annoying, hi there, Blue. Welcome to the stream.
Specifically call it Blue. You're annoying.
Yes, Blue has put themselves up as like they are the chaotic element or something like that, and they're like part of the biddy gang and some shit. You guys, damn it. Sorry. There's like a sound file where they say "go suck a lemon." I mean that pops up, and my honest reaction is the same as when people sneeze me saying "bless you." I just turn around and go, "You suck a lemon."
My girlfriend, when she goes into a sneezing fit, I'm just like, bless you, bless you, bless you, bless you, bless you, bless you. She's like, you don't have to say bless you. I'm like, I'm gonna keep saying bless you because it's hilarious because she's just achoo, achoo, achoo.
It's just like, polite as well. Very rarely do people sneeze more than 3 times.
Oh, she sneezed like, because for her it's temperature that does it for her.
Oh.
So when a temperature, like a more extreme temperature change that happens, she just goes off in like a 15 to 20 fucking sneezing fit.
I actually have the
like,
same
constant.
issue. It's annoying.
And it's annoying, but it's also hilarious to watch. It happened to her. And I'm just like, constantly saying bless you to her. I am not there. What the?
Made it.
Made it. It's just. I
was
like,
fuck.
We're top 4 at least.
You think you're going to bed?
Top 5.
Not to worry, Sky. Not to worry. I understand I stream at like really bad times. I won't be streaming tomorrow morning either because I'll be with family, but I'll be streaming tomorrow evening. And that one's probably going to be a, what is it called? Like a state of affairs sort of stream where I'm like, once again, looking at the calendar and going, right, what were the suggestions? What can I look forward to? What are the days I can't stream?
We have a Skeletor.
Ooh. Where?
He was upper left corner somewhere.
Yeah, he was on the left.
Everyone's favorite.
Yeah, he was on the left on the east side, yeah.
Oh, this dumb...
The skin on your lips is the same as your butthole. Until we meet again!
I know that TikTok. Oh, what was one of them? It's like... Remember, pregnant women are technically a submarine.
Yeah.
Have you not heard of that one?
Yeah, I've heard that one. That's a good one. Wee. Hello, we're all together.
All right, let's just head up to the hammer. Just hang out here.
That's
I like hanging over here. That's safe.
Oh, not when this guy's around. Oh, he killed himself.
Yeah, when it's safe again.
He killed himself. Here, you guys have that. Oh god, I almost hit myself.
Yeah, the thing is, the only way. Oh shit. Now it's slightly more dangerous over here.
Ah. Oh, I launched this guy over here.
I just sent
we're
your
tied for fourth, so this is weird.
I just sent a clip of you like doing your squats on stream to a buddy of mine, and
oh god,
they are absolutely upset.
Yeah, they can be upset whatever they want. I've done so many squats over the last few days. My legs are fucking hurting, and I don't give a shit anymore. Oh god.
This is fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah, you two will survive this.
As long as we do, because we're tied for fourth. So as long as somebody else gets out,
how do I emote?
Behind you.
Oh god. Fuck. I went straight down that hole.
No,
we're in danger.
Yeah, unless people dramatically start leaving, which is not going to happen.
I'm also down. That's it. We lost.
Oh, my calves and my thighs. Ugh. Oh. All right, I'm gonna do 10 star jumps. 1, 2. Oh, my ankles. 4, 5, 8, 9, 10. Oh, everything hurts. So for those who don't know, I'm doing the push-up challenge at the moment. But because I've got a bunged up shoulder, I'm doing other exercises.
Yep.
So altogether, I have to do 3,144 push-ups in 23 days. It's for Australian mental awareness. There's a fundraiser for it. It's charity. And I've already raised $40, which is nice.
Yep.
Thanks, my best friend. And yeah.
So, because you've sent me,
I've sent you the fundraiser.
Yes. Hang on a sec. Let me just find because it was in.
I'll put my own fundraiser thing in chat as well. If anyone wants to go there and donate, anything little or big helps. It goes towards mental illness. Did we fail? We failed, didn't we?
Yeah, we all failed.
Yeah,
so
okay.
As soon as you went out, they got me right after.
Yep.
Okay. So so it's for the number we do, which is 3,144 push-ups between the 1st and 3rd of June, is to represent the number of people who died by suicide in 2021 in Australia. I want to specify that.
Yeah.
So there's the fundraiser link if anyone wants to go there.
All right.
Also, I need to exit.
Yeah, I need to exit too. There we go. Alrighty. Hey, Blue.
It's a really good cause. And we I'm doing it with a bunch of people in my martial arts center.
Blue.
Blue. See you later, Kitsune.
Blue.
Or Kitsune, or however you want to say it.
You want to play Fall Guys?
Joining for a bit. Join the stream. Hope to see you more soon. I do have a Discord if anyone wants to join that. It is in the description below. Unfortunately, I'm not like Grant and I don't have a fancy bot to throw up my Discord every now and then. I should get on that.
Yeah, fun fact, making a fancy bot is just make another Twitch account and then using StreamerBot or one of those other like programs to just have access to that access to that robot. That's it. So doesn't play Fall Guys. All right.
Yeah, but if anyone wants to follow that link, feel free. Check out the push-up challenge and all that. Again, it goes towards mental illness. No, I'm a big advocate for that because I did suffer myself from a lot of depression and all that. So that's why I sort of do it.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to like take care of one's mental health as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
So because I don't talk about it too much because it's just I don't know. It's while I will have like my issues as well, what have you, I never, wanted to do like deep dive discussions about them and such. But anytime there's a question of like, oh, should I really be like, taking a day for like mental health or trying to, speak to someone professionally about this sort of stuff, I'm just sort of always saying, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
There is going to be some things that you are not going to be able to figure out by yourself or with family. You are going to want, like, much like
especially
talking to a soccer
like
coach. Yeah. Much like, going to a professional for sports, go to a professional for the mental health, and it will do wonders.
Yeah. So, yeah, like I was suffering quite badly because I had a lot of toxic masculinity things like, both the whole black belts cannot show weakness. I took it being like Asperger autistic and all that. I took it very literally.
Yep.
To the point of it has affected my mental health with a lot of traumatic things that have happened in my life that I've just pushed down. So I'm a big advocate for go and see someone. If you're having trouble, find someone to see and or talk to your friends. Like they're like Andre and I talk to each other all the time about things if we need to help just, support each other. And it works out well. So yeah, be honest with your friends.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Talk to each other. Or even just hugs. Hugs are good.
Yeah.
If you're feeling the strain, just ask someone for a hug. Hugs are great.
Yeah. That's one of the things I like about the some of the fur meets that go off in Australia. Like when I went to the South Bank fur meet, it's like you can ask for a hug. Like a hug can like people can are like, oh, are you okay for a hug? Hug for like, either as a greeting or just, before they leave. And it's like they don't, it's not like here's a quick like 1-2 second hug. It's like they will do like the 5 to 15 second hug, like those ones where you're just sort of like and you're either going to be like just a little bit salty because it's like, yeah, I can relax into them, or don't let go.
Yeah, I had a day where I wasn't feeling good mentally, and it was the same day as our Gold Coast fur meet, and I have a few friends who like they love hugs as well, and can I just get like a fur hug? And they just like called over like 6-7 other fursuiters, and they all just like smothered me in a big hug and just held me there for like 3-4 minutes.
Oh, that's fucking incredible. That's a dopamine hit
one of my best friends was one I was mainly hugging, and I was just like resting on her, and she was just holding me close. Everyone else was just hugging around me. Some were like rubbing my back and stuff. It was just amazing. It was just I just needed that dopamine hit to feel good and stuff. So yeah.
So also, Grant,
you need to come down to the Gold Coast.
I need to go down to the Gold Coast. You said
the Gold Coast fur meet at some point.
I don't have a car. It's a bit of a journey for me.
Are you near the train? Are you near the train?
Like the Sherwood one.
If you can get the train down to Helensvale, I can pick you up.
Oh, cool.
Because I live right next to Helensvale. And also there's a bunch of Brisbane furries that come down as well. If you can probably just ask around.
Okay. I still need to go to the South Bank. Oh, damn it. Fucked up on that one. I still need to go to the South Bank one, like, at least more than just, once a year.
South Bank's, in my opinion, is kind of like, yeah, it's all right. I actually haven't been, but, like, I hear things, because being an admin of the Gold Coast one, you hear shit from the admins of that one as well.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that guy just got yeeted. Holy shit.
I think it's just a case, yeah, because, despite popular belief of thinking, oh yeah, like furries are in their own little ISO and such, it's like you only need like maybe one other group within your furry community and you will start hearing things. And it's like, admins will talk to other admins. Absolutely. It's much like IT peeps will talk to other IT peeps, especially, and it's never a case of, oh, like, have you seen this person? No, I haven't. Oh, okay, never mind. It's always a case of, have you met this person? Like, caution, or have you met this person? You're going to have a great time. Like, there are always extremes.
Yeah.
So.
Go suck a lemon.
Xander? I don't know a Xander. Who's Xander? I don't think I've ever heard of a Xander.
Organized
the Gold Coast Fair meet for us. No, I don't know Xander Victorious.
Yeah.
If he's one of the ones that I don't know. It might have been one of the previous Gold Coast meets because that eventually stopped. But so far, ours has gone pretty strong. We've gone in for a year now. We've just reached a year for our meet, and it's still going really strong. We run a very good tight ship, and we don't take any bullshit from people.
Yeah, 1 year is a really good like administrative hallmark as well. Like,
yeah, I've been there since the start. Quite a few of us have been there either from the start or quite a little way in. So yeah, I don't know a Xander. I'll have to ask the other admins. Anyone knows Xander Victorious? Some of them probably do, knowing them. Like, yeah.
Well, Tatsu lives all the way in New South Wales. Yeah. Australia is a really big place, and it's really expensive getting to other fur meets.
Oh, hey, Tatsu. I didn't see you there.
So.
Well, this one looks awful, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of weird rail things.
And we're climbing up.
Oh.
What is this? What the fuck am I looking at?
And then there's like a pinball thingamadiggy at the end there.
I'm gonna say that
God.
we're gonna lose here.
Yeah, we weren't too great in the last
Oh,
one.
this has the bullshit with the time and shit.
Oh,
Yeah,
what
no.
the?
Yeah,
Fuck.
no, this was the last season I played, and I hated it because it fucks it all up.
I'm doing all right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you fuck. The pinball.
Are those fidget spinners at the bottom? Yes, it is.
Yeah, they are. I'm doing all right.
I'm still way early on.
Oh, something just happened on my PC. Something
happened?
like all the screens decide to flash.
I am near the end.
I've lost 2 of them. Oh,
You lost 2 of them? What happened?
wait, one of them's
That's
back.
not good.
They're all loading. I'm still in the chat. Am I still in? I'm still streaming. Is the next question. I don't. Oh no.
I would assume
Fuck off.
yes.
Oh, you fuck. There we go.
Hard to
Oh, I'm at the top.
say.
24 points.
All right, VC face is stopped. I'm gonna start task manager now. I need to see what's stopped,
so-
what's good.
Yeah, no. Xander did run GC for stuff back in the day, but it's probably been a little while now, apparently, Benru.
Yeah, looks like some
Alright.
of my 3D stuff is stopped. Hang on.
Uh-oh. That's not good.
Yeah, and I think Fall Guys.
Honestly,
is stopped
Zeebs,
as
you're
well.
missing absolute hell right now. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, not everything decided to.
Oh my god.
Something
Oh,
happened on the
come on.
GPU.
No, I'm not making it.
Nah, I think
Chat.
we've lost this round because you're just getting battered around.
Yeah,
I'm
and
trying. This
I've
area
gotten out of the game.
sucks.
Dude. Yeah. I was gonna say, if you could just get up there and get in, we would have been fine, but yeah.
And I
That
think
sucks.
my OBS
I
might
was
have
well
stopped as
ahead.
well. Unless chat?
I think we've lost Grant's
Yeah.
stream a bit.
Yeah, no, my. Why is the thingy-majiggy on the left stopped? Yeah, because something happened
honestly-
with like 3D or something like that, and it just like stopped for half my stuff. So maybe this HUD companion may have. Yeah, that HUD companion broke.
You're gonna go, oh, Shelby, okay. Have fun.
Are you guys
Have
still
fun
in it?
hanging out with people. I'm
Oh,
still.
we
Oh, no,
lost.
we lost, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that area sucked.
Definitely not compensating for anything.
All right.
You can
Enable
definitely tell
preview,
that it's
disable
You
preview.
can't
Yeah.
use 2 hands on that lightsaber.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hydrate. Oh, I gotta get more water.
All
Shelby. I'm gonna be right back.
People are
Gotta
just-
get more water.
People are just gonna have to like stare at unless I can turn on audio, my audio ducking fella. Here we
Johnson
go.
says he can hear you, and the stream hasn't dropped for me yet either, so you're still good on that.
Nah, so yeah, it looks like the stream hasn't stopped, thank goodness, but like all my 3D nonsense has, so I'm just turning on all this stuff. So now it's just, you know, classic just chatting. So, but yeah, like right now I'm looking on my OBS on the left. I'm still my zebra like in full focus on this Fall Guys game that I'm crashed in, and then I look over at the actual like Twitch feed and I can see like all the changes I'm actually trying to do, like turning on the you know, the audio ducking TTS image I've got going. So there's that. So I might call it here then, since things have broken, and it's almost 9 o'clock. It's like 10 minutes to 9, basically the end of the stream. So yeah, the only time
granted,
things
it was
decide to
fun.
break. Yeah, no, I appreciate you being able to come along, Dazzy. I hope you had a great time. Trumpet, this was your first
Oh, I had
time I'm, being able to join in on one of these party game streams. What are your thoughts? Oops, excuse me.
I think he went to get something to drink. To Grant's chat, my apologies. I was low energy today. I'm still trying to get over jet lag, so my apologies. But I had an absolute blast.
That's good. Alrighty, let's have a look and see who might be streaming. Sashara is still streaming. We got Nubs, who's got back into streaming, doing their VR stuff. Teacup, Werewolf, Bleep Bloop, Joy Life, Premiere. Zephora is streaming. What's she doing?
I know somebody doing some Sea of Thieves. If you're interested, named Dave Huber.
How do I... So, Dave...
It's Dave _ HUBER_.
And then another underscore afterwards?
Yeah.
That's $1,000.
It should be like a white polar bear or something.
Yeah, they look like a white polar bear. All right, let's. So yeah, that will be good. So
Just chill.
No, that's a good chill. So, because Scribbly has started doing this, and I think it's a good idea as well. But with the raids, like maybe going for not too common of the peeps I normally go for, such as the avoiding zip code you like a lot of the peeps I've already gone into and such, and instead going for maybe like second degree interest. So people that are familiar with you, but I haven't gone to who before. Trumpet Collins, for instance.
I have my drink.
What good work.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Before we were going into a raid, I just wanted to ask, because this is your first time joining in on a just the party game stream, and is this your first collab stream? First collab with me, I should say. Hey, how'd you find it?
I'm getting a lot of things. Oh my god, Cass. Cass has got me to do the Numa Numa. Andre!
Alrighty.
Cass has redeemed Numa Numa. Cass has redeemed Numa Numa. I gotta do the Numa Numa.
Do it.
There you go.
What is the Numa Numa?
Maya-hoo.
That song.
Maya.
Is there a
Oh,
sound?
yeah, he's behind me. Maya. Maya.
Oh, that's fun.
Hello.
Nice work.
Salud. Desierto. Un hajduk. I didn't.
Oh.
You know the rest of it. Hello. Hello. I'm probably gonna get demonetized by now.
Maybe, but yeah. Trumpet Collins, if you want, you can join us as we go and raid into another furry. This one, a Sea of Thieves furry named Dave Huber.
Oh, we're playing Sea of Thieves now.
No, we're raiding into them because.
James with a beard.
James with a mega beard. There you go.
Black.
Yeah, he's a very chill streamer.
Dwarf James. Yeah.
All right, so put that.
All right, now I'm fine with raiding.
Yep. All right. Cool.
What's their name?
Dave Huber. I just posted in your thingamadoogs.
Oh, okay.
So,
all right. So my chat, we're gonna go do that. We're gonna raid Dave Huber.
Yep.
Because we only did the stream just to play Fall Guys. We've been doing 3 hours. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And Grant, thank you for inviting me, and thank you for the stream, buddy.
Thank you as well. I'm always happy to keep doing stuff like this.
Sounds good.
Likewise.
I'll have a look at what kind of games are of interest for next month in July, because I'll be doing these the first Saturday of the month, or at least try to do those as regularly as I can. Viewers on my side, I've posted in the raid message. If you don't have the emotes notes, that's okay. You can use whatever else you want. Once again, Trumpet Collins.
Go support Grant.
GrantZeebs
just commented in chat. Go give him a follow.
1221 paid me to say go suck a lemon.
I don't know Noob's Twitch.
Yeah, sorry.
It's fine.
But yeah, otherwise, thank you everyone who came along to tonight's stream. I greatly appreciate it. Trumpet Collins, thank you for joining. Dazarus, thank you for joining. And we'll go get ready to raid into Dave Herber.
We're going right over now as well.
Bye,
See you around,
Grant.
everyone. Bye, Grant.